I was really pissed, by the way, that you weren't here on Friday, and it has nothing to do with you taking a day off. As I was doing today was the day when Pete Rose on Friday played in his 3,000th game.
Huh.
And at that time, he was the 5th or 6th player to ever do so. So then I looked up everybody that had played 3,000 games, and I was ready to do Moulton trivia. And I was fired up about it. I'm like, we're doing this. David's going to love it. And we're going to stun the audience with his answers. And then I'm like, oh, crap, Trent's there.
God, I would love to have taken a crack at that.
We may do it during a break. Yeah, David, the PT was great. Honestly, it was a great session. He helped. I feel better. But he said, why are you here? I said, because insurance won't pay for an MRI. And he just looked at me and started laughing. He goes, yeah, you pretty much got that right, don't you? I'm like, why let doctors handle health?
Right.
He's like, I know. But then he was great, but it's just like they know.
Yep. Pious, that's a nice factoid right there. I want to be one of the judges, but
don't know what happened. I did all of today was a day when yesterday, and now my computer was off this morning. Instead of in hibernation, I got to redo the whole damn thing.
Well, that's awful.
Fortunately, I kind of know what I did, so I know what I'm looking for, if you know what I'm saying. But still, it's a pain in the ass. Right now.
Oh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final Tuesday of June. The football magic numbers are 65 and 72. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Hope your week got off to a good start. Heck, my wife was even talking to me this morning about 4th of July plans. So I know it must be close to vacation season. Mark, how many days till vacation?
4, David. 4 is the magic number. I'm very excited, although very nervous, because I have put the city that we are traveling to in my phone in my weather app. And while right now in the entire United States, it doesn't appear that there is one storm anywhere, and Canada as well, it is expected to rain the first 4 days of my vacation where I am on the lake. So I am not all that happy about that. But what are you going to do? Can't do anything about it. I told my son, who's going to drive up and meet us, and I mean, obviously I love my mother, but 4 days in the rain in confined quarters with my mother talking for 4 straight days is going to be a bit taxing on the entire family. Because as you will see, your mom has a roommate, your Aunt Kathy, right?
Correct.
Okay, making sure I got that right. I thought I was going to screw up early. And so obviously the two of them communicate with one another. My mother lives alone.
Right.
She doesn't, when she's doing her thing with her friends, she communicates. But obviously my mom, I believe, goes through long periods where she's home alone. And when we see her, she feels the need to get in every single word that she's not gotten in the last couple of days at our house. And I love her to death, obviously. It's my mom. But sometimes it just doesn't end. Like Sunday, we got back from the ball game. She was great the whole ball game. She was great in the car. We got to the house. I said, "You're staying for dinner, right?" And I made a nice dinner. And while cooking dinner, she went on with a 28-minute story. 3 times I wanted to inject. By the time she kept going, I forgot the hell what I was supposed to even inject with the story with. And I just said, "You know what? I'm not going to even bother anymore. Go get him, Mom."
That's some story, Mom. You hungry? You ready to eat? Food's ready. Well, maybe because you're going by car,
Yes.
and it's going to take a little while. So maybe she'll get worn out just on the drive.
I joked with my daughter yesterday that she gets on her phone. You know, my wife agreed. I had nothing to do with this. That if my daughter made the travel gymnastics team, she would get a phone. I feel she is too young for a phone. I still feel that way, but obviously my daughter has a phone, so you know how much I have to do with decisions that are made in our home. And yesterday on the way to my daughter's gymnastics practice, she was on her phone again. So I decided I would have some fun while my Apple CarPlay was on, and I started calling her, even though she was in the back seat, to disrupt her watching videos on her phone. And I explained to her that during our long trip north coming up on Friday, that if I feel that she is on the phone too much, I'm just going to constantly call her to stop her from being on the phone. And she thought that that was, moderately funny to annoying. And then I imitated how my wife will act when she's playing games on her phone, and I decide to just randomly call her to interrupt her game. And then I said, of course, when I do it to Grammy, Grammy will just answer the phone and go, "Hello."
Well, at least you got that figured out. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. David Samson will join us to kick off the bonus hour. We'll actually discuss an interesting story, or at least we'll try to, in our 8 a.m. Eastern hour. Gary Ferman, who's been covering the Canes for a lifetime. Did anybody see the story late last week? Wisconsin is suing Miami for tampering. It involves NIL, and also this is not something that happens every day. I mean, this is college football. I mean, there's a part of me that wants, if this actually goes to court and it goes before the judge, I hope the judge actually understands a little bit about college sports. And the judge says, "Listen, before we proceed, I just want to get a few things straight. This is involving college football, correct?" Yes. And the plaintiffs are suing because they think the defendants did something unscrupulous, right? Yes, Your Honor. Once again, I'm going to ask the question. In college football, correct? I mean, don't you want the judge to have a sense of humor?
Yes. The other side of it is, if he has no knowledge of college football whatsoever, the implications of this case would change drastically.
Could
If you
very
know
well,
what I
yeah.
mean. Because what you're
Right.
saying actually has some common sense and some logic to it. If he is like a judge, or he or she is a judge who happens to know nothing about college football, then the ruling could be vastly different than someone who knows a little bit about college football. Because at the end of the day, what Miami is accused of by Wisconsin is tampering for a player who never entered the portal and just started taking classes at Miami.
Hey, once you get into the court system, anything is possible. In closing, if I was the University of Miami, in closing, Your Honor, I would just like to say that if you rule for the plaintiffs, next thing you know, coaches and athletic directors will have to honor their contracts with universities. And Your Honor, we don't want to go down that road. Okay? I understand in the rest of Western civilization that contracts have to be honored. That is not the case in college football. It is part of what makes the sport unique. And Your Honor, we think you need to keep that in mind when you're deliberating your verdict. No,
I-
just
I like it. I like it, David.
just wait a minute. We're going to bring morality, rules. We're going to try to enforce them in, wait a minute, college football? You're saying this out loud. Wow. I mean, I applaud Wisconsin in a way. I do. It's like, you know what? Good for you. It's a sleazy industry, but this is where I draw the line. Okay. I can respect that. I mean, so and so, snarfed you out of this guy, and so snarfed you. Yeah, I know, but this is where we draw the line. Okay, I get it. I do. We all have a line that, if you cross it, you're dead to me. I get it.
Yeah, you
Miller and Moulton,
of all people,
right?
David. Really, that line. When someone crosses,
Totally. Yep. I'll tell a person right to their face, don't take another step. Just so you know, I'll never talk to you again. And I mean ever.
and it's no problem for me. Trust me. Here's a list of
Yeah.
people you can ask if I've done this before.
Right. I don't have a lot of friends, but you know what I have? I co-host a 4-hour sports show. So I do a lot of talking and I get a lot of feedback. And you know what? I can spend the next 20 hours after the show in total silence. It's a hell of a life, quite frankly.
So we'll get into the Miami, Wisconsin tampering case later on in the show, and it is Tuesday. That means David Samson will join the show, and plenty always to talk to David about, not the least of which what we talked about yesterday is how Major League Baseball would react if on the day of their 7th game of the World Series, a huge trade was announced. Because that's what happened to the NBA with the Durant trade being announced the day of Game 7, which that would never happen in the game of baseball. But one of the many things that we'll bring on David Samson and talk about later on the show today. You can always join us, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, youtube.com/Miller and Moulton. If you want to watch the two of us talk as opposed to listen to the two of us talk, and you can interact instantaneously in either the YouTube or Twitch chat room. The text line is open for those of you that don't want to do that. 21,000 is the text line. If you've not texted the show in a while, you need to text the keyword Miller, and then you can text as much as you would like.
I also learned something else yesterday, that the Pac-12 is coming back. Now, I know they said they were coming back, but to me, you know what the Pac-12 was until yesterday? The Pac-12 was when, like, the Browns went to Baltimore and everybody came in and said, the Cleveland Browns have not died. Okay. They're just on hiatus for a while and will be coming back in short order. Just give us a minute to put it together. And I kind of feel like yesterday, the Pac-12 began to put it together, Mark, because, Mark, once again, what is major college and pro sports after all?
David, at the end of the day, all they are is a TV show. And what did the Pac-12 accomplish yesterday? A TV.
They struck a TV deal.
Right.
There you go. So, hey, they're back. They're officially back. Now we can judge just how good the TV is going to be. But, you've got a TV deal. Well, then you really are the Pac-12. Okay. All right. Good for you. Congratulations. What's this going to be? Like a 2-year hiatus? All right. Browns were 3. You guys were 2. Just so you know, though, when the Browns came back, they were like the Browns, the legitimate footing with the other 30 teams at the time. Yeah, when the Browns came back, the Browns made 31. It was awkward. All right.
You immediately grow into the group of 5, 6, 8, whatever the hell it is. And that's the only way that you could get in to the college football playoff, because you are no longer a big boy. And quite frankly, you never will be.
Probably not. But we'll get into that.
Not in our lifetime.
Yeah, probably not. I have to admit, though, this next phase, this 5 to 7 year thing that I think we're going to go through, that I believe we kind of have our arms around. It's always possible they could do something bat blank crazy, considering they're not in agreement on much of anything right now. But Mark, the 2030s, if we think this is the wild, wild west, the 2030s could be something in college sports.
Well, that's the time in which football could really go do its own thing.
Yes.
They're going to get through these 5 to 7 years, and then will the SEC and the Big Ten decide it's time to create the Super League that we've heard so much about the past couple of years. Miller and Moulton, the starting five, 25 minutes away. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Defining a new era in Men's Health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ambient. Okay. Glad surgery went well. Sorry you're. Sorry you're having to go through that. But, you know, I think the bottom line is, Mark, is that, you know, we got to get this thing going. And, you know, sorry you're suffering this morning. Hope it gets better. Hope we can provide a distraction. Puck Virtue, do you know how much golf those guys have had to play lately because of the elevated events and the majors? And no, I think the next time you'll see either one is in July at the Scottish Open, which is a warm-up before the Open Championship. Yeah, I don't think they'll play this week. I don't think they'll play the following week. Then I think it's the Scottish and then the Open.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for joining us. The starting five is a little more than 15 minutes away. So, Mark, this week's PGA Tour event has a little something for you, right? This is the Rocket Mortgage. This used to be the Buick Classic, right? In Michigan.
The Buick Open was in Flint, Grand Blanc to
Gotcha.
be specific, which is a good 75 miles north of Detroit, maybe 60 thereabouts. And this tournament, I guess, replaced it because the Buick Open went away for many a year.
Right. Buick stopped being a sponsor, and a few of the tournaments that they were sponsoring went away. And then the PGA Tour said, we'd really like to have a summer event back in Michigan. And Rocket Mortgage stepped up and said, well, okay, we'll put the money behind that.
And Dan Gilbert did that, and it has turned into a party. I used to go to the Buick Open pretty much every year. And believe it or not, I would argue with anybody in golf that the 17th at Warwick Hills was the party par 3 long before the 16th hole in Phoenix.
Okay.
And this goes back, I'm talking when I was 17, 18 years old. I mean, this is damn near 40 years
This is a while ago.
Right.
Right.
And I remember, no one will remember this golfer. A golfer by the name of Robert Wren won the tournament one year at like 35 under. It was a pitch and putt to these guys. The Buick Open was a course in which guys could set a 4-round tournament record. It was that in Memphis before they went to the new course there. There were a handful of courses where guys were going to go low.
Right.
And the year Ren won, I went with 3 people, and we had an unbelievable time. And the 17th turned into this massive party. And it was one of those things that was very organic. By the next year, everybody that was at the 17th told at least 10 people how much fun they had, because the next year was a blank show. I mean, it was just off the chain. After that, the folks at Warwick Hills said,
Reined
that's
it in.
enough. We're no
Right.
longer allowing you to bring coolers onto the golf course. I mean, David, when I first started going, we were bringing our own beer to the golf course. That's a far where we are now.
Those were the days.
You're damn right.
Remember? They'd allow you to bring your own food and drink into events. Those were the days. But I mentioned this week's event for a reason. Do you know who James Pyatt is?
Pontius'
Does the
son?
name sound familiar to you?
Pontius' son?
He, wow, a little early there, Ed.
Hey, I mean,
James,
you serve them up, I try to hit 'em
understand.
out.
No, I understand you're 3 days away from vacation. I know anything's possible to come out of your mouth now. So Pyatt was an all-everything golfer at Michigan State. And Pyatt, I believe, won the U.S. Amateur. And because of it, he got some early exemptions on the PGA Tour back in 2022. He did not do well. He missed the cut in all 3 events. One of them was the Masters. I mean, as the reigning U.S. Amateur champion, he had an invite to the Masters. I think he had an invite to Hilton Head the following week. But anyway, in fact, he had trouble breaking 75 on the PGA Tour. He was driving back home after his 3rd missed cut, and his agent called him. This is 3 years ago. And his agent said, hey, you know who's on the line? LIV. They want to offer you a bunch of money to join their tour. And Pyatt said, I'm done. 22 years old. Are you kidding? Let's do this thing. And so Pyatt was one of the original guys on LIV. And the first year, he was like, 36th on tour. But in 2023, he was one of the worst golfers on the tour. In fact, he finished 57th. I mean,
on the Live Tour?
On the Live Tour.
How's
yeah,
that
he was on.
They don't have 57 golfers, do they?
Well, there you go. So he was on Phil Mickelson's team. He finished 57th, and he was relegated. They actually have that on that tour. Like the bottom, 6, 8, 10 guys get kicked off the tour. And, well, you're kicked off LIV. PGA Tour won't let you play in any of its events, Corn Ferry or anything like that. He had shoulder surgery last year. He played in a Corn Ferry event earlier this year because he had to wait out a year. So he had his shoulder fixed during that time. And this year he came back. He missed the Corn Ferry cut by a stroke. But as a kid who grew up in Michigan, Mark, this was his tournament. That as a kid, he didn't dream, the first dream, not of winning the U.S. Open or the Masters or the U.S. Amateur, but he was like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to play in the Rocket Mortgage? If I could one day play in the Rocket Mortgage, in my quote unquote hometown, in front of friends and family, man, that would be the best. Well, they've had a bunch of people drop out of the event, and they needed to fill the field. So the tournament called them and said, hey, want an exemption? Want to play? He's like, absolutely. So here's a kid who's got no status on any PGA Tour or lesser tour because, he was an LIVer. So, he's not a good dude. He's a traitor. Well, The year-long penalty season is come and gone. Now, if he can get exemptions into events, if he can qualify on Mondays, whatever the case may be, if he can work his way onto the Corn Ferry, he can play. So this James Piot, P-I-O-T, will be playing in the Rocket Mortgage beginning Thursday. He's only the second golfer who's ever played in an LIV event to somehow, some way work his way back to be able to play in a PGA Tour event. And I believe Laurie Cantor is the other golfer who qualified for an event based on his world golf ranking. I think it was the Players, quite frankly. And he was in it based on world golf ranking. But this kid, if you will, whose biggest claim to fame is winning the U.S. Amateur and then obviously cashing the check.
By the way, I mean, it was
Yeah.
a major for the longest time, so it is a hell of an accomplishment. I don't think we can slight winning the U.S. Am.
So, making the cut would probably be awesome. So we'll see how he does. But just a name and a story to pay attention to, because also the thought is maybe beginning next year sometime, some of the guys that are on that tour are going to try to make their way back. and right now there's still a year penalty in place. We do have a new commissioner coming on the PGA Tour. Now, he doesn't officially take the job till a year from now, but clearly if he has an opinion about something, the tour might be inclined to go his way a little early. So kind of curious if during the off-season, Mark, can certain people who are going to leave or be dumped by LIV, can they raise their hand and say, hey, can we reduce this penalty to like 6 months? And can I get back in line?
I think it will be tough with Monahan, but I do agree with you that the new commissioner could give his opinion. It could be vastly different from the way the tour has been talking. David mentioned it earlier. Gary Ferman will join us to talk some Canes, and David Samson on the show today. The starting five is next. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Bless you.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. For those of you expecting David Samson at the top of the hour, his schedule changed a couple weeks ago. His show is now 7 until 9 Eastern. And so that makes him joining us at 7 o'clock on Tuesdays pretty difficult. But he joins us at 9 o'clock Eastern on Tuesdays. So David Samson will join us then. A few people have already noticed, Mark, that you have posted our poll question.
I was going to get into it last segment, but I was so interested in the story on Pyatt there that we had to talk a little golf there. So I thought I would begin this segment with letting everyone know that the poll question is posted. If you listened to the show yesterday, you already know what the poll question is, because David said, hey, I've got the poll question for tomorrow. And let's be honest, we struggle with poll questions on this show. So when one is put up a day before, the only thing that really isn't accomplished right now is that both Miller and Moulton remembered what yesterday's poll question for today was.
Because there have been a few times in which we're like, hey, that'd be a good poll question tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and we both go, hey, what was that thing that we thought would be a good question? I don't know.
Exactly. But it's very simple. Which champion has the best shot of repeating in 2026? The Florida Panthers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Miller_Moulton, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X to vote. For the record, I voted Oklahoma City Thunder.
The reason we did not include the Dodgers is because that season's already underway and nearly halfway through. Okay, so that's why we didn't do it. Plus, their season will end in October/November of 25.
And this clearly says in 2026. So I ask all of you to do the same thing I tell my daughter to do when she screws up on a test. Read the question.
Right.
That's all.
So there you go. I have to admit, I think this is one of our better sports questions because there is no wrong answer. And I think most of us believe that all three teams will be legitimate championship contenders entering their respective playoffs next year. I mean, does anybody think that Oklahoma City won't be a contender? Obviously, there can be major injuries, but as presently constructed, no. The thought is they'll be a legit contender for the rest of the decade at least. The Eagles, I think the Eagles are going to break the streak, Mark. We've haven't had back-to-back champions in the NFC East since the Eagles under Andy Reid in 03 and 04. I say the Eagles go back-to-back as NFC East champs. I will be shocked if the Eagles are not in at least the divisional round.
I'm with you there. I believe that to be the case because I think Washington takes a step back this year, and I don't have nearly it. I mean, I think the Cowboys are going to be better than they were a year ago, but I don't think they're division champs good.
And then you've got the Florida Panthers. Hockey's a strange game. The Panthers are not a young team, but will they get old in a year? And if they are relatively healthy, considering they're the deepest team in the league and they have a Hall of Fame goalie and a Hall of Fame caliber coach, I mean, right now, who are you picking to come out of the East?
Florida
next year.
Proven otherwise.
Right?
And by the way, if
Don't
you
you
say,
have to?
and I will say this, if you say a Hall of Fame goaltender and a Hall of Fame caliber, I would take the caliber off Paul Maurice. By winning the Stanley Cup, Paul Maurice is going to the Hall of Fame. That's back-to-back.
You're right.
One of the most winning coach, if not the winningest coach in the history of the game. Paul Maurice is after this week, Paul Maurice is a Hall of Fame coach. Write it down.
I agree. Top 10 all-time in wins. It's been to 4 finals, won 2 of them. I agree. 18 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
We'll start with Major League Baseball. Limited schedule last night. Yanks were in Cincinnati to take on the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz put on a show. A homer, a triple, a single, 3 RBIs. Reds 6-1 over the Yanks. New York's lead is down to 2 in the East over the Rays. How about that? Angels scored 5 in the first, 4 in the 8th to reduce the Red Sox to a 500 team. 9-5 Los Angeles. Boston is 40-40. Orioles, I will say, they did not fall apart like a tin watch after they
That
blew that
flat.
8-0 lead to the Rays last week.
Oh, you're right.
All
They've
right.
been pretty decent.
They-
these days.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they're still like 10 games below 500. But the funny thing is, that's only like 4 out of a wild card, maybe 5 out of a wild card in the American League. Anyway, Orioles 6-0 over Texas. Jackson Holiday with a homer and 4 RBIs. Trevor Rogers with 8 shutout innings for the O's. Cardinals hit 4 homers. They beat the Cubs 8-2. St. Louis and Milwaukee, both 3.5 back of the Northsiders. Brewers lost yesterday at home to Pittsburgh, however, 5-4, snapping their 4-game win streak. Nick Gonzalez with 5 for 5 for the Pirates. Do you know who Nick Gonzalez is? Be honest. I'm asking all of you. I didn't.
No.
Should I? Maybe, but I no idea. Went 5 for 5 in the majors yesterday.
That's
Ain't
pretty
easy
good,
to
I
do.
think. Right.
Yeah, good for him. Mark, the Braves and the Mets played. Who do you think won?
I'm going to take a stab and go Braves.
Even though it was in New York, Mark, you are correct. 3-2 Atlanta. Acuna with a solo homer. Schwellenbach with 7 innings of 2-run ball. Juan Soto is on fire, even though no one else on the Mets can hit a lick. He had a 2-run homer, his 17th. But the Mets have lost 9 of 10. Week and a half ago, they had the best record in baseball. Now, not so much. Boy, the Mets have to feel good, though, that they're not the Minnesota Twins. Because while the Mets have lost 9 of 10, the Twins have lost 10 of 11. And Cal Raleigh hit another homer.
The big dumper.
I mean, do we have to check bats? Okay, I mean, is this, back in the day when we thought guys were corking, when really they were just on steroids? Man, oh man. His 32nd homer of the season. Mariners all over the Twins, 11-2. Pavin Smith with 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Arizona 10-0 over the White Sox. And the Nats, after losing 11 in a row, have won 3 of 5. They beat San Diego in San Diego 10-6 over the Padres. A couple of other baseball stories. Dominican Republic prosecutors have requested a 5-year prison sentence for suspended Rays shortstop Wander Franco, and that the mother of the underage girl receive a 10-year sentence for trafficking her 14-year-old daughter. The court said it will render a final verdict Thursday afternoon. Can I ask the awkward question? If he's found not guilty, the Rays will be back on the hook for the contract. That doesn't mean they have to take him back. They could just pay him $186 million over the next however many years. They do not have to bring him back. They have to pay him, but they do not have to bring him back. If you're the Rays and this verdict goes a certain way Thursday, you bringing him back?
I'm not, David. I'm not. There's too much there to me in this case. I'm not bringing a pedophile back to my team. It's not happening.
Yeah. I'm an innocent till proven guilty guy.
So you'd bring him back.
I would take
you
the
would
heat.
actually trust the Dominican Republic's court system.
Yeah, I have to.
All right.
I have to. I trust ours. We have to operate by the rule of law. I would trust it. It's not like this was a 3-week, this is a 1.5 year investigation. Yes. If he's found not guilty, I wouldn't put him in the majors this year. He hasn't played baseball in nearly 2 years. I'd, send him to the minors and what have you. But yeah, he'd be on my team. Las Vegas A's owner John Fisher and Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred looked on yesterday as ground was broken in Vegas on a $1.75 billion, 33,000 seat stadium expected to be finished in time for opening day 2028. So they broke ground in Vegas. David Samson to join us to talk about that. NBA. Celtics begin unloading salary. They send Drew Holiday to Portland for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. That's funny because the Celtics actually acquired Holiday from Portland. It will ultimately save Boston $40 million on the salary cap this year, but it will save them a lot more in the following 2 seasons because Holiday is under contract for 3 years. Simons' contract is up at the end of this year. So this is a salary dump for Boston. And Game 7, most watched NBA Finals game since the clincher 6 years ago. That was Golden State looking for the three-peat against Toronto. 16.5 million viewers. It peaked at over 19 million. The 7-game series, however, barely averaged over 10 million, which is down over 1 million viewers from last year's Boston-Dallas series. And that series only went 5 games, and Boston was up 3-0. So overall, ratings for the finals, not good. Game 7 did very well. Playoff ratings, however, on ABC and ESPN, up 10% from last year. The NBA's new TV deal kicks into effect next week. $7 billion a year for 11 years. NHL. Trevor Zegras sent from Anaheim to Philadelphia for Ryan Poling, who's a grinder, and 2 draft picks. Zegras is just 24 years old. He'll enter the final year of his contract. He's a top 6 skill guy. Injuries the last 2 years. This is a change of scenery trade. Could turn into a big deal for the Flyers. We'll see. College football. The Pac-12 is back, baby. And they made a 5-year TV deal with CBS to prove it. CBS will broadcast their championship game in football, their championship game in men's basketball, 3 other football and basketball games over the next 5 years. By the way, who makes up the Pac-12? I'm glad you asked. Oregon State, Washington State, and beginning next year, Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Utah State. And Gonzaga will join them for basketball.
Is there any truth to the rumor that Gonzaga will have to change their name to Gonzaga State to be in the Pac-12? Because it seems that you have to have a state associated with you to get a bid into the conference.
No, because the word is that the 8th member of the Pac-12 is going to be Texas State, which right now is doing good things in the Sun Belt. Soccer. They're playing this Club World Cup in the United States.
What a waste.
Inter Miami, the only one of the 3 MLS teams to actually make it through to the round of 16. They had a 2-2 draw yesterday with Palmeiras. They were up 2-0 with 10 minutes to go. They would have won their group with Lionel Messi's team. They would have had a much easier round of 16 match. Instead, Messi's going to have to face his former team, the Euro champions PSG, in the round of 16. And at 8 minutes before the hour mark, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories and the Pac-12 here on Miller and Moulton.
The Pac-12, where every school has state in their name. That is
except for Gonzaga a year from now in basketball only. But as Mark said, they may have to become Gonzaga State.
Can't wait for that TV package on CBS. We should be riveted to all of these games that'll end up on the CBS Sports Network.
Yep. All but 3 football and 3 basketball, including the championship games. Absolutely. This will just replace the Mountain West. The Mountain West has had a long-standing deal with CBS and the CBS Sports Network. And considering the guts of the Mountain West is leaving to join the Pac-12, I mean, that's basically what this is. The surprise a year ago was UNLV didn't jump to the Pac-12. They're still on the outside looking in. Hour one of Miller and Moulton.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no.
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
With
sound.
summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the Dave.
This is Miller and Moulton.
right now there's 7 for football next year. There will be an 8th, and there'll be, when they add the 8th for football, that'll make 9 for basketball. I'm trying to think, is Santa Clara joining for hoops? No, they're not. So it looks as if right now, a year from now, it will be the Pac-8 for football and the Pac-9 for basketball, and we'll call it the Pac-12.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. David Samson will join us 2 hours from now. Remember, his schedule changed, therefore his schedule on this show had to change. David Samson, 2 hours from now at the top of our bonus hour here on Miller and Moulton. We have what I consider to be one of our better poll questions. That's a sports question. We know you don't like our sports poll questions, but I think this is a top 10 quality sports poll question. So there.
It simply is which champion has the best shot of repeating in 2026. The Florida Panthers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Philadelphia Eagles. We were going to just do the NBA and NHL teams, and yesterday decided we would throw the Eagles on the list as well. The Dodgers aren't there because the key part of this is repeating in 2026. Now, baseball would like to extend their season another couple of months, but they just don't seem to know how to do it. They want to start probably a little earlier so they can have more snow games and finish with more snow games.
Also, the season's half over. So you can't ask that question when a season's already underway. You can ask the question when a season has not begun yet. What is surprising me, Mark, in early voting, and this is like early returns in an election. Maybe I shouldn't get all worked up, but I am surprised at how poorly the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. Is this recency bias?
A little bit,
Cup...
but it's hard. I mean, if we were to ask a question, and we could do this tomorrow, David, like we can really show prep here. Which of the 4 major sports, yeah, I know I'm including the NHL there, so I apologize to most of you, but which of the 4 major sports is toughest to repeat as champion in? I think most would say the NFL.
Even though obviously the Chiefs just did it and appeared in 3 straight Super Bowls, and the Eagles have appeared in 2 of the last 3. I just think, raise your hand, and obviously some of you are driving, don't.
Oh, you
look
can
funny,
drive.
stop at the light.
Your knee, for crying out loud. There's plenty of ways to raise your hand while driving.
I'm just thinking it'll be awkward when you're stopped at the light and you've got your hand up like you're a stop sign. But anyway, I mean, who thinks the Eagles are not going to make it to at least the divisional round of the playoffs? I mean, anybody? I mean, wouldn't it be very surprising to everybody if the Eagles do not, whether they get the bye as the 1 and they're automatically advanced to the divisional round, or they're 2, 3, whatever seed, and they have to win a game to get to the divisional round? I mean, how many of you think they're not going to win the East? I'm guessing very few. And, so that means they're through, in all likelihood, the divisional round. Well, that's the Panthers advancing to at least the second round. That's Oklahoma City advancing to at least the second round. I mean, Mark, I'll ask you right now, gut feeling, Eagles in the NFC Championship game, yes or no? It's just a gut feeling. I'm not going to hold you to it in 10 weeks. Gut feeling, Eagles in the NFC title game, yes or no?
I'd lean yes.
Anybody in the NFC have a better roster than the Eagles? Gut feeling right now. Top to bottom roster than the Eagles. Anybody?
I don't think so.
Well,
I would probably go Eagles. I still think the Lions roster is pretty damn good. I'm high on where the Bucs are.
Yep.
The Packers have a really nice roster. The Vikings have a really nice roster, and the Rams are getting there. When they add Jalen Ramsey, I think it'll even be better.
Chris Greer, what are you waiting for? Just wanted to add a little Burgess Meredith.
Never a
accent in there
bad
when I
time to go
can.
Burgess on the show.
Thank you.
But
Thank
right
you.
now, David, to prove your point, the Eagles are plus 300 to be the NFC conference winner. The Lions are plus 450. San Francisco is plus 750. Can someone help me out with why the 49ers are so highly thought of?
I'll give you two reasons. First off, all the injuries last year, so they think that's not going to happen to a team 2 years in a row. Secondly, the Niners' schedule is pretty soft. It's not only a fourth place schedule, but the NFC West schedule is pretty soft. And so I think a lot of people think they're going to bounce back. I'm with you. I think the Niners' best days with this core have come and gone.
The Commanders are next at plus 850. And then the Rams and Packers are 10-1. The Bucs are 15-1 to win the NFC. I'm going to keep watching that number and probably put a shekel or two on it.
Now, this is unusual for me because of my Matthew Stafford crush, and I like Sean McVay, and I've been high on the Rams when others haven't. What's the Vikings odds?
Plus 1,600.
Because I think that could be the second best roster in the conference if you take the quarterback position out of play. And I'll say it again. What if he plays at the level of Bo Nix? Which I don't think is a huge ask, by the way.
David, I do. I'm not being a jerk here. Bo Nix had a great year last year. Like what, 20?
He had a very good year last year.
For a rookie? He had a great year for a rookie.
Well, okay. All right, fair enough. I mean, the first half of the year, they were, kind of training wheels. But yeah, second half of the year, no doubt.
So if he has that kind of year, they're going to contend for the division.
Right. That's kind of what I'm hinting at. So, but
by the way, the Cardinals are 30-1. I don't know if the Cardinals have a shot, but I just think that the Cardinals having the fourth worst odds in the NFC is interesting to me. They're better than that.
They are. Do you know what's holding them back on paper? According to analytics, do you know what's holding the Cardinals back? Kyler Murray. Throwing from the pocket. That's what's holding the Cardinals back. I think this is a monster year for Murray in Arizona. I think this is the make or break year as to whether or not he's their guy going forward. Whether they can contractually get out of it at the end of this year, I don't know that they can. But I think for the organization, Mark, I think this head coach and general manager, this is the year that they decide, kind of like when the Rams and Sean McVay said, get Jared Goff out of here. Can't win with him. We've gone as far as we can go. And somebody was like, you do know you went to the Super Bowl? He's like, yep, I know. Can't win the final game with him. Get him out of my sight. I think it's that year for Kyler Murray in Arizona because he has no excuse. He's got weapons.
No, they finally built a pretty damn good team around him. They've got a couple of receivers. They've got a gifted tight end. Their offensive line is expected to be much better.
But I'm just a little surprised, and I wonder if it's just recency bias because we've just gone through 8+ weeks of basketball and hockey playoffs. That, what's it, about 85% of the votes are split between the Panthers and the Thunder?
It's changing rapidly because we're getting a lot of votes. But yeah, almost 80% right now. Half of the votes are going to the Florida Panthers. That would be a three-peat. That is something that does not happen in sports today.
Hasn't happened in hockey since the early 80s. Hasn't happened in the NBA since Jordan and the Bulls, right? In the late 90s? 96 through 98.
Boy, oh boy, speaking of the Panthers, the sports world is really honked off at in the hockey world at Bennett in his comments because he channeled his inner Conor McGregor, and we all know now Conor McGregor might not be the best person in the world. So to repeat what he said at the parade, people have a problem with that. Hockey people have a problem with what he said because they think he's the dirtiest player of the Florida Panthers. Holy cow, folks, get a grip. It's a parade in front of all of their fans. What do you expect them to do? For the life of me, I don't get it. People really get bent out of shape for all the wrong reasons now.
I don't know why you would even take what is being said at these things seriously. You know, we had the hockey guest on yesterday who said, you know, not sure. Well, Alejandro Solano was talking about the Heat and the Panthers. And he said, I don't think we should take, you know, what is said at a drunk fest, you know, celebration parade seriously. But, and it's being pointed out to me in the Twitch chat room, and I was wrong, the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe in the early 2000s three-peated. So it's been a little over 20 years in the NBA. It's been over 40 years in the NHL, and no one is three-peated in the NFL. But the Eagles aren't trying to three-peat, and neither are the Thunder. But the Panthers will be trying to three-peat next year. And go to 4 straight finals, which would be pretty damn impressive too.
3's really damn impressive. To do it a 4th time would be ridiculous. And I hope that they do. I love this team. But, man, that's a lot of hockey. That's a lot of games over 4 years.
Yep, it is.
And you have to have a little luck from an injury standpoint. You know, Matthew Tkachuk came back in the playoffs. He was not nearly himself throughout and finally got close to being right in the final. But we'll see.
Right. And in fairness, like the Panthers have been the healthier team entering the latter part of the playoffs the last 2 years. Now, the first time they went to the finals, by the time they got to the Stanley Cup final, they were all banged up. And they had guys who shouldn't have been skating in the Stanley Cup final. But
so that's our question. Which champ has the best shot at repeating in 2026? Right now, 50% of you say the Panthers, 30% of you say the Thunder, and 20% of you say the Philadelphia Eagles. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton to vote. David Samson coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. We'll talk some Canes in a little over an hour. Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
This is Miller and Moulton.
take it easy. Well, Puck, remember, ambience on drugs. He's in pain and he's on drugs. So we're going to cut him a little slack.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Football magic numbers are 65 and 72. 65 days away from that big Thursday heading into Labor Day weekend with 16 games on the docket, including a good one in Tampa between Boise State and South Florida. UCF with their season opener. 72 days away from the Eagles beginning defense of their Super Bowl title when they host the Cowboys. And speaking of the Eagles, they're in our poll question. Which champion do you give the best chance of repeating in 2026? Florida Panthers, Oklahoma City Thunder, Philadelphia Eagles. And right now, the Eagles coming in last. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. I voted for the Panthers. And I was very torn. But my thought process is the Panthers are not going to get old next year. They're going to be close, but they will not be old next year. I'm still counting on Bob being Bob, Paul Maurice being Paul Maurice. And as of now, Mark, I'm finding great difficulty in finding the team in the East that I have confidence in that they're going to potentially be better than the Panthers. I don't think Tampa Bay's got the cap room for a lot of maneuverability. Toronto, I think, when they lose Marner and Tavares, they'll be different. I don't think they'll be as good. I know Carolina's got a lot of money, and they supposedly are going to try to be really aggressive. I just have a hard time heading into next season right now, not picturing them as the huge favorite to get out of the East. Whereas I actually think, like, we're going to have a very lively next 2 weeks in hockey and basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Very
I mean,
lively.
The NBA gets all of the talk because of the offseason and their drafts tomorrow, and Cooper Flagg's going to be a Dallas Maverick, and then whatever happens, happens. But many are talking about the NBA free agency season being crazy. Those that are involved in hockey could have a tremendously wild offseason for that sport. I know the majority of you don't care about hockey offseason because you don't know the names and the faces the way you know them in other leagues, but they are going to have a very, very busy offseason. And it started yesterday with the Flyers making the trade with Anaheim.
And it's because for the first time since the pandemic, teams in the NHL have money. Because that is the hardest of hard cap sports. And teams have had virtually no money. And now teams have serious money to spend. And so they're going to spend it. Plus, there's a decent free agent class. One of the things people are complaining about in the NBA is it's a bad free agent year. So expect a lot of trades, but not necessarily free agent signings.
Most
the next-
of the big free agents in the NHL, however, with the exception of Marner, a lot of the big names are a little older. And if Bennett stays in Florida, that takes off a big piece of one of the free agents. But there are a lot of names you will know. They're just a little older in the NHL.
And I expect Ekblad to be one of those free agents that I think the Panthers will re-sign the two forwards, Bennett and Marchand, but they will let Ekblad go and they will replace him with a couple of $5 million defensemen instead of giving him all the money. But we shall see. 25 minutes after the hour.
Time now for the coolest thing I've seen today, and it's brought to you by Air Advantage. 239-433-4635. 433-4635. Whether it's service or sales or Ream Pro partner, you can visit them online at myairadvantage.com. And I don't know if this really qualifies as the coolest thing I've seen today, but I have to be honest with you. This has turned into the hardest segment that I've ever done in the history of this show. I thought this was going to be fun. I thought this was going to be easy. I thought it was going to be lighthearted to find a nice little story out there for you every day. It ain't that easy. Yeah, this just in. Sports websites don't like nice, heartwarming stories.
Mark, I don't know if news websites like them either.
No, news websites hate them, David.
I mean, think about our newscasts. You know, we do 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2.5 hours. And then we have the one, quote, kicker, unquote, story that's the nice, heartwarming. It's like, wait a minute. You guys have done from 4 o'clock to 6:30. And at 6:28, you're going to give me 20 seconds of cute? That's all you got? Yep.
But
that's all we got.
This is something I agree with. And again, you know what? Text me at 21,000. If you find something cooler, I'll send you, a shirt that someone gave us. I don't know. I'll get something for you for helping out with this segment. But more importantly, visit our good friends at Air Advantage. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you. There'd be nothing better that you could give us than visiting our sponsors and putting in a plug for Miller and Moulton. Reminder, if you're looking to sponsor the show, we've got room. Text me at 21,000. If you've not texted the show, you need to text the keyword Miller, then fire back sponsor. We'll communicate. We'll give you a great deal and give you a ton of exposure here on the show. But Cameron Jordan was at that Fanatics Fest.
Over the weekend?
Yeah. And while it's not cool, I cannot agree with him more. He was asked about the dumbest rule in the NFL. And he didn't waste a second to say excessive celebration. For the fans, I think it's excessive celebration, Jordan said. Like, boy, if you don't let them celebrate, they scored a touchdown. They dragged 3 defenders on their back. I get a sack of a quarterback. Give me 5 seconds. In fact, put the spotlight on me. I'm going to hit the levels. I'm going to hit one of these. In fact, I'm going to kick him while he's down, and I'm going to go about my way. But, not letting us celebrate, it's okay to taunt. Bring back taunting. He wants to bring back taunting, and I'm all for it. The No Fun League doesn't get it. You've always been this way on touchdowns. It's hard to score a touchdown. Let them celebrate. And the fact of the matter is, if they want to do a dance, if they want to bring back the Mark Gastineau sack dance after taking down a quarterback, since they can barely hit him anyhow, let them go. If it causes them to not line up in time, then it's on them. I've never understood when it is a television show why you don't want to allow this. And good for Jordan to lash out against the league. He'll probably issue an apology sometime by tomorrow morning saying he was wrong in his thoughts. But that's the coolest thing I found today, and I apologize for it being a little lame. That's all I got today.
Now, listen, I'm all for the celebrations. All for them. Okay, whether it's the sack dance or whether it's the choreographed stuff after you score a touchdown. My feeling's simple: start the play clock. Okay,
Yeah.
they'll have to wind this fucker down pretty quickly. The other team's going to snap the ball, or they got to be ready for the extra point, whatever the case may be. Now, we could get into the whole difference between celebrating and taunting. Okay, I would have no problem. I know, what's the line? What would you allow? But I get it. I get it. We don't want taunting, but I do think we should have celebrating. I do. And I had no problem when, they were celebrating at my team's expense. It's like, hey, you guys earned it. Good for you. I grew up a Giants fan. The Redskins there had the fun bunch. And whenever the wide receiver scored a touchdown, they got together and they had a choreographed thing. Don't know what to tell you. Keep them out of the end zone. And it was fun. It was fun. I liked watching it too. We need more fun.
We do
more
need
humor.
more fun. You're absolutely
Lighten
right.
up a little bit.
We're getting ticked off because of what players are saying to their fans at a parade for winning the Stanley
trophies.
Cup. Miller and
we are
Moulton.
miserable, aren't we?
Yes, we are. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Did you order the keyboard?
Yes, through my
Awesome.
mother. Through my mother, she has an account, and I asked her to do it.
Good. Then we can test it out, make sure everything, help you get set up if need be. So,
Just so I can use the N and the
well,
B key.
I mean, I know nobody cares, but the consistency thing on the internet's important. And when you've 4 years of doing it a certain way, I've got to think that that's important for consistency for Twitch, YouTube, and everything else.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Plus, it'll be nice to have a fully working keyboard. That comes with a cord to connect it, right?
Yes.
Good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Gary Ferman will join us 1 hour from now. There's an interesting story that kind of developed late last week. Wisconsin suing Miami over a recruit and NIL, alleging tampering. Oh, this could be new territory in college football. We're interested. Gary Ferman covers the Canes, who, by the way, are still kicking you-know-what on the recruiting trail. And
So
we
are
enter the
the
whole new world.
By the way, so are the Knowles and so are the Gators. All three Florida teams at this moment in time doing very well on the recruiting trail. We'll see how it all plays out. Lots can happen between now and whenever they sign or get offered more by someone else. But from the looks of it, the big three in the state of Florida doing well, not seeing UCF scoring a lot of big wins. But I think
they landed a top 500 recruit last week.
Right.
So, but you're right. That was like the first, hey, Scott Frost, when are you going to, get on the recruiting board? And last week, UCF kind of raised their hand and said, oh, we got one. Oh, all right. Good luck. Good luck. Hey, can I just throw a few things out at you? Like we said, the next 2 weeks are going to be nuts. You're going to be gone for what should be a busy week of transactions. So just let me throw a few things out at you. Are you paying attention to what's going on in Dallas with Jason Kidd's coaching staff?
He's lost a couple. The funny thing is there are still people out there that believe the Knicks have a shot at Kidd. So you couple that with some of the assistants that have left, it is interesting.
So Kidd is 2 years left on a contract. The Knicks, as we all know, they called. He was their first call. And Dallas angrily was like, absolutely not. Don't ever call back again. So Kidd said, well, if that's the case, then, all right, let's add 2-3 years to this. And if we're going in a new direction, let's do it. And the Mavs are like, well, we didn't say we were going to give you an extension. We just said we're not going to trade you to New York. Oh. Well, then Jason said, well, what about my staff? I got one guy whose contract's up on June 30th, I got another guy whose contract's up in a year. Can we at least extend the staff? I mean, we did go to the finals the year before. We went to the conference finals 2 years before that. I mean, no. And the Mavs have said no. So kids so let me get this straight. I can't leave, but you're not going to do anything to keep my assistants? And so because of it, Mark, you're right. His one assistant is technically getting a promotion, and next week officially will join the Spurs and be associate head coach, which he doesn't have that title in Dallas. But the big thing is that his contract expires Monday. So the Spurs are just going to officially pick him up after his contract expires. But what was interesting is while he was under contract, the Spurs called the Mavs and said, hey, can we interview your one assistant? And the Mavs said, yeah, absolutely. And Jason Kidd's like, well, I'm under contract and a team called and wanted me. What's the difference? So behind the scenes, Mark, and Jason Kidd's good at forming wedges. I mean, Jason Kidd is a player and as a coach has been very good at creating wedges where there didn't seem to be one. But now there actually looks as if there is a wedge that is being formed. And Mark, that's why what you said. There are people in the NBA who believe at the end of the day, Jason Kidd's still going to be with the Knicks because they're looking at what's going on in Dallas and going, this doesn't make any sense. You're going to let his whole staff get up and leave, but he has to stay? And you're not going to extend him? Huh. Can we, by the way, the draft is tomorrow, sidebar here. If you're the Mavs and you made the deal that you made, trading Luka and coming out and saying we have a 2 to 3 year window, then why would you not trade Cooper Flag for Giannis? What am I missing? Forget, what you may think. I'm just going by what they did and what they said. They brought in the big guy. They said, I can't win a title with Luka. And Giannis would go. And obviously, they can offer up Cooper Flag to Milwaukee. They'd have a suit. They have assets.
Would you take that trade straight up if you were the Bucks? Giannis for Cooper Flag. Giannis for the first. How much more does Dallas, if anything, have to give you to make that trade happen?
Well, Dallas will likely have to unload some salary to fit Giannis. So Milwaukee would have to take,
a couple of players to fit the Giannis. Yeah. And I don't know their roster and their salaries well enough to tell you who those players are.
So you would, so they'd have to throw them, 30, 40 million in salary to probably just make it work. And I have to admit, though, if I was Milwaukee, even though in theory the draft picks are not going to be any good, I would like a couple of first round picks the rest of the decade, even though in theory they're all going to be in the 20s or maybe even in the 30s.
And it doesn't seem like this trade, this is just Miller and Moulton talking here, because San Antonio seems to be the destination for Giannis. They have the players to make the salary work. They have some picks to make the trade work. That, if there's a spot that seems the most likely landing destination for Giannis, it's San Antonio.
And another tell was, and a few people have been asking in our Twitch chat room anyway, how come San Antonio didn't offer more for KD? They didn't offer anything for KD. Even though KD said, Houston, Miami, San Antonio, that's where I'll go play. And Houston and Miami were the finalists, and San Antonio was like, yeah, we're not interested. And San Antonio could have blocked him from going to Houston. And they're like, nah, we're not interested. They're saving up all their resources for Giannis. All of them. If that's going to happen, they're going to have their resources.
But it's not going to happen in the next 48 hours. It's not.
No.
If it's pay attention to, who San Antonio drafts, because they could move that draft pick to, could be somebody that Milwaukee needs more. But this likely, from everything I've read and heard, it's more likely that Giannis gets traded in July, mid to late July, than he does this week, if you know what I mean. Like Giannis is going to kind of let everything happen in free agency and the draft, and then look to make his move.
If he's doing this for strategic purposes, I get it. But if he's actually giving Milwaukee like one last chance to put the best team around him, they have no assets. They have no money.
They have no money. They're going to lose.
picks.
They're probably going to lose Lopez in free agency because they don't seem to have the money to spend on him. Dame's hurt all next year. To me, they're in no spot to retool that team on the fly, not to mention how hard that is to do in the NBA.
And so, for the Bucks, it'll be 50 years after trading Kareem to the Lakers, but will they be forced to trade the next guy who won the MVP and led them to a title? And will they have to trade him as well 50 plus years later?
But the thing for the Bucks more than anything is, and that's why I love what you're talking about with Dallas, because the one thing people talk about is like, look, at the end of the day, if the Bucks trade Giannis, you explain to me the reason in Milwaukee to go to a Bucks game next year.
I know.
And that's what ownership's struggling with. That's why the Cooper Flag thing makes all the sense in the world, because if you're a Bucks fan, yeah, I lost Giannis. That sucks. But you can rationalize the fact that it was going to happen anyhow. And look what we got. We got a budding star to now rebuild around.
A new face of the team, right?
Yes.
One other thing, I want to not take advantage. I want to leverage your feelings about the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I want to give you an either or. I'll give you $50, not my normal 20. I'll give you $50.
Big Bucks Moulton. There he goes. Digging deep into that thick wallet where he's got the 50 hidden between his Burger King fan club card from 1989.
I've never, ever been a Burger King or Wendy's or McDonald's fan club member. Stop it.
And his Rite Aid card from sometime in the early 90s.
Never had one of those either. I've never, ever, at all these places that I go to hundreds of times a year, and they all go, "Are you a member?" And I go, "No." And they go, "You should be. You'd save a lot of money." And I go, "Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Could you just give me what I ordered?" Anyway, $50. Who goes further this coming season? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Orlando Magic?
Ooh, I love that question, because the Magic, obviously with the big move they made, are poised to be a contender in the East, with Boston and Tatum being hurt, Halliburton being hurt for the Pacers. When you look at the East right now, don't you have to think of what, with the move that Orlando made, that they're healthy, that they're at worst a top 5 team in the East?
Mark, I think
Cleveland and the Knicks are still going to be good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Orlando should be better than Boston. Orlando should be better than Indiana. Orlando should be better than a reconstituted Philadelphia. All right. Milwaukee's not going to have Dame, even if they keep Giannis. The Heat don't have, anything that, seriously, name me the team that you think of. Toronto? Hell, they're talking about blowing up the group that they just put together to try to replace the championship team, and that hasn't gone well. The Bulls, Atlanta.
Maybe
Atlanta's got
what Detroit did last year. If they can, they can continue doing what they're doing. I think you have to at least put them in the conversation, David.
By the way, that's a team that I thought should have been in the KD sweepstakes. I thought they should have gotten themselves in it. All right, just throwing that out there. But because you're right, I think Detroit could be salty. I think Detroit could be the fourth best team in the East and maybe even better than that. And I don't know how much difference there'll be between the top four in the East next year. So that would be my question to you. Like, we're asking our poll question today of the three champions, the Florida Panthers, Oklahoma City Thunder, Philadelphia Eagles, which one you think has the best chance to win it again next year? I will ask you, this coming season, Tampa Bay Bucks in the NFL, Orlando Magic in the NBA, who are you higher on?
If we were a really good show, a big show, I would write down the day and time right now so David could forward this clip to Hot Takes Exposed, because this could go terribly wrong. So I ask those of you in the Twitch chat room, the YouTube chat room, the loyal listeners that we have across the state of Florida and into Alabama, you can remember this and come back and use it against me. But David, the answer is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the Orlando Magic are not going to play in the Eastern Conference Final. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the NFC Championship game. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, baby. There we go. There we go. He is really feeling this Tampa Bay Buccaneers love.
Most underrated team in football heading into the season. I'm telling you right now, nobody has any faith in the Bucs. Baker Mayfield can play. Their receiving room is really good this year. They've got a running back. They've got an offensive line that's certainly top 10 in the league, maybe a little bit better. Reddick's got to perform as a pass rusher. That's key. They've got to be able to get a pass rush. If the pass rush comes through, David, they're playing in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, somebody is feeling it, baby. I like it. I like it. All right. So, you know what? I don't know what odds you can get, but I'd be willing to donate 20 to your cause. And just, you know what, here, just throw it on it. I'm so impressed that you're this in on them. You know what? I'll contribute to the cause. But I wanted to give you that either or, because I think that's a pretty good either or heading into this coming season. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this final Tuesday of June. That's if you're in the 239 and the 904. It's the final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas. Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A good poll question, a good, solid sports poll question we put up today, if we do say so ourselves. We thought of it yesterday, and we actually remembered it 24 hours later. So we're impressed with ourselves on two fronts, that we came up with a good one and that we actually remembered it. That's kind of the bar that's been set here on Miller and Moulton. But which of these champions has the best chance to be champions again next year? Florida Panthers, Oklahoma City Thunder, Philadelphia Eagles. And we didn't include baseball because the season's halfway over and we don't think that that's right. You know, the theme is next year. Baseball's already into next year. So there you go. And 80 to 85% of you are not voting for the football team. I am finding that surprising. Just saying, Mark.
Yeah, I know
thought
we've
the
had
Eagles-
repeats in the Super Bowl. I just think, and, you know, part of the reason I think you're surprised and should be surprised is that when you look at the NFC, although you just heard me go hard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a little bit of an island there. I mean, when you truly look at the NFC, who has the best roster? The Philadelphia Eagles do. Their division, probably the second easiest to win after the South. Like, I think the South has the worst. Like, I think Tampa's playing the worst competition of anybody in the NFC. I think the West could be the toughest to win, but I think the teams are all reasonably close. I think the same in the North. Detroit's certainly the favorite, but if the Vikings or Packers won the North, I don't think we'd be tremendously surprised. You know, the Eagles, when you look at the NFC East, who is it you see overtaking them in that division? Washington to continue on with what they accomplished last year? Remember all of those close wins. Remember their fourth down conversion rate was it was far better than the Eagles. Everybody talks about the damn tush push. Washington was damn near perfect going forward on fourth down. Can that continue for another year? Or do they take a step sideways in year two with Jaden Daniels? And no one has any faith on the Cowboys getting a whole lot better, although I truly believe, David, they're going to be much better than they were last year. I liked their offseason. I thought their draft was good. I thought they got a couple of free agents. Like, I think when we always look at teams, are they the same, better, or worse? I think Dallas is better. Like last year, I thought they were worse than 2 years ago. This year, I think they've come back a little bit. I think they're better than a year ago.
Well, I would say better only because, as it turned out, Dak was hurt and missed over half the season last year, and I have to count on that not happening again. We go into every year assuming that people are going to stay healthy. Obviously, that's a dangerous assumption in football because injuries are a major part of the game.
But
For me, it's very...
That team's going to have injuries. So, yeah, you have to. There's no way
Right.
to do this exercise saying, well, I think this is the year the Eagles have a lot of injuries. You can't guess that.
Right. I think the only thing you can do is say, like, you know, the Broncos signed J.K. Dobbins. And I think it's fair to say, listen, okay, I like him. He's a good player. Now, history says he's going to miss a month. He'll only play 13 out of the 17 games. But I like him. That signing made them better. I like the signing. And you just hope that by the end of the year, he's healthy and he's able to contribute and lead them on a playoff run. But to me, it's simple. Who had the best roster in the NFC last year? It was the Eagles. Okay, this year. Anybody gain ground on the Eagles? Seriously. Anybody gain ground on the Eagles? I don't think so.
And look at most people thought the second best roster, and they had a lot of injuries, but the second best roster in the NFC was Detroit. There's no way you can look at this year's Detroit, skip the whole coaching brain drain. Look at their offensive line. They lost 40% of their offensive line. On paper, it's tough for me to say the Lions roster's better than it was a year ago. You could argue it's the same, but it's really difficult for me to say that it's better. That's, again, why I like the Bucs. I think their roster is better than it was a year ago. I don't think it's not saying that it's not close, but I think it's clearly better.
I think Minnesota's roster might be better than Detroit's. But golf is a huge, huge difference at quarterback right now. But I really like Minnesota's roster. I really like Minnesota's offseason. Minnesota's gotten significantly better at the point of attack.
They went and made moves to make their O-line better.
I mean, if Minnesota had a proven quarterback, I think people would be going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about the Vikings. I really do. So that's kind of, you can't call a team went 14-3 last year a surprise team, but I just don't, Bears are getting talked up. Packers are getting talked up. I think Jordan Love's the guy holding Green Bay back. I may be crazy, but I think Jordan Love's the guy holding them back. I really do. That defense was top 25% of the league last year. That defense got pressure on quarterbacks. That defense did a very good job. It's time for the offense to take it to a championship level. When they lost to the Eagles and the Vikings and the Lions twice, do you know what let them down? Their offense more than their defense. Come on, Jordan Love. Time to be the guy. And I mean the guy, not just the guy who was given the job and is going to be pretty good. It's kind of like what Aaron Rodgers did. When Aaron Rodgers was given the job the first year, that was 6-10. That was tough. Second year, led him to the playoffs. Third year, won him a Super Bowl. Now, Jordan Love's already had 3 years as the starter. So it's like, okay, this will be the third year as the starter, right?
Yeah, and they went out and they went out in the draft and did something that the Packers don't do. They went and got a wide receiver in the draft. They should be more dynamic offensively than they were a year ago. You're right. It's on Jordan Love. I like him more than you do, but I think your points are incredibly valid. That it's, this is a make it or break it year for Love. And I know Purdy got paid, but to me, it's if everybody's right about the Niners, doesn't Purdy have to be better?
Well, if everybody's right about meaning everybody's right in terms of high expectations.
Yeah, I mean their odds are the third best in the NFC to win the NFC Championship. I mean, people are thinking that the Niners are going to just, that last year was a blip. That this year they're back to being the Niners. Well, if that's the case, Brock Purdy's going to have to be pretty damn good because they lost talent there. They lost key players.
All right, $20. Rams or Niners, who would you take to win that division?
Rams.
I'd take the Rams all day.
Rams.
You and I are going against Vegas here. We're going against the conventional NFL pundits' wisdom here.
Well,
you and I look at this
I
and we
don't think
see
that
the
the
same
San Francisco 49ers can stay. Like, they have guys, when you mention Dobbins and how often he gets hurt, when you look at the Niners, how can you realistically say this team's going to stay healthy all year? They don't. McCaffrey's had injuries throughout his career. Ayuk's coming back from injury. We don't know what to expect of him. Williams is hurt often. So that defense is another year older. I don't see it, David. I really don't. I was baffled when I saw how high Vegas has the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe I'm just missing something here.
I think the only way that the Niners achieve what Vegas and certain people think they'll achieve, McCaffrey has to have a Saquon year. Because remember, the key to Saquon last year was what? He stayed healthy. I mean, we always knew he was an outstanding player, but playing behind that offensive line, healthy and motivated, look at the year he had. Well, McCaffrey hardly played last year. I mean, McCaffrey's banged up. McCaffrey's got to stay healthy. With what they've lost on offense, with their wide receiver room right now, if he doesn't have the impact on that offense that Saquon had, I don't see it with the Niners. I just don't. But
they drafted two defensive linemen. They think that's going to bolster that defense. But Bosa, he's another year older. I'm just not as high on the Niners as everybody else is. And you're absolutely right. McCaffrey has to have an MVP-like season for the San Francisco 49ers to me to just win that division, let alone make any hay in the postseason. But coach and pedigree, and we think highly of the Niners as an organization, so that's part of it here, David, I think.
Oh, yeah. And in NFL circles, there is almost a bowing at the waist to Shanahan. I mean, people in the NFL just absolutely rave about him. I'm not as high only because he's had a lot of double-digit fourth-quarter leads in big games and hasn't been able to get the horse into the barn. He had one as offensive coordinator of the Falcons in the Super Bowl, and he's had 3 of them as head coach of the Niners, whether it be the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl. He's had double-digit fourth-quarter leads and ended up on the wrong side 3 times. And then, that Super Bowl with the Falcons.
Not a team that's built to grind out wins, David. That's not their style.
Well,
that's why the Philadelphias and the Detroits, you look at, they can grind out a win. They can run between the tackles and eat up clock and do the things in the fourth quarter that wear a defense down, and actually do it for 3 quarters so that when you're in the fourth quarter, you continue to wear them down.
But that's actually what the Niners should have been with their vaunted running game and with their terrific defense. It's why I don't give Shanahan the universal praise that most in the NFL do, for whatever that's worth. Miller and Moulton.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
can't wait until the day I can actually like cough or sneeze without fear of it buckling me.
You got something here?
I got nothing, David. I really do. The only thing I've got that I mean, it's not worthy of the segment, but I do find this whole like Ace Bailey thing interesting. That he just wouldn't work out for Philadelphia. Like, I don't get it. But I know it's the NBA.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. It is the final Tuesday of June. Gary Ferman from Kane Sport to join us. Got an interesting story. Wisconsin filing a complaint suing Miami for tampering in a college football recruiting story. We'll talk to Gary Ferman about it. David Samson in 40 minutes. Lots to talk with the former president of the Miami Marlins about. If you think about what has gone on just in baseball alone in the week since we last spoke. Got the whole Rays sale situation that came about. They actually put shovels into the ground in Vegas yesterday. That's something David Sampson's talked about for 3 years. Lots to kick around with David Sampson in 40 minutes' time.
Text lines open at 21,000. The keyword is Miller. If you've not texted the show before, or at least in a long while, 21,000 keyword Miller. Would love to know what's on your mind, whether it's about the poll question, whether it's about our little Bucks talk there. Whatever may be on your mind, would love to hear from you.
I am intrigued by a hypothetical today. It's an uncomfortable story. It's the prosecutors in the Dominican Republic officially requested a 5-year prison sentence for suspended Rays shortstop Wander Franco. The judge has said, the court has said, that they will render a final verdict Thursday afternoon. This is a very unseemly story. He's alleged to have had a relationship with a girl when she was 14. The mom of the girl is facing a 10-year prison sentence, according to the prosecutors, because they believe that she trafficked her for money from Franco. I mean, this is disgusting. It's ugly. If true, what if he's found not guilty?
Yeah, it's really easy. If he's found guilty, not only does he go away for 5 years, but more than likely, he would have a permanent ban from the United States because of that crime. He would never be allowed in this country again. So if he's guilty, it's a done deal. He's never playing baseball again. We get it. But if he's found innocent, then what? I'd be done with him. I think there's enough there, and I don't trust Dominican Republic courts. Sorry. You can say whatever you want to be about me for those thoughts, but I don't think their justice system is quite the same as ours. And ours certainly has holes in it.
Listen, we've had many a guy. Who's the pitcher? Trevor Bauer. Okay, he was accused of sexual assault. Charges were never filed. Never. The accuser has been proven to be unreliable. I believe she's even recanted her original accusation. It's what, 2.5 years later? Everybody in baseball needs pitching. No one will touch him. And he was a top starter when the accusations were made. And he's like, what, 31 now? Something like that? I mean, certainly not old for a starting pitcher. And there is nothing legally preventing anyone in Major League Baseball from signing Trevor Bauer, even to a minor league contract, and letting him prove that he can pitch in the majors again. This is a guy who wasn't even charged. He was just accused in the public, and he lost his career. So, Mark, I get it. Okay, where if you're the Rays and if by chance Thursday afternoon a Dominican Republic court finds him not guilty and you go, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I guess I'm eating $182 million over the next 9+ years because he ain't playing for me ever again. And
I'm reading a story on it this morning because I knew we'd talk about this. And there are quotes from his attorneys. This is where I shake my head. Wander is a young man who has been demonized. Wander is a kid, even though he's of legal age. Wander is a young man. How old do people here think Wander is? Over 18 and she was 14. I don't need anything else there. Don't give me the he's a young man thing. That's not a defense. But I don't know if they're going to find him guilty. Anything can happen in a courtroom.
He's 24 years old. If he's found not guilty, the Rays signed him to what? An 11-year, $182 million contract, of which he was only like a year and a half into.
Yeah, they owe him another $174 million. If he's innocent, he's getting his money.
And my question would be if you, and you know, everybody make yourself the new owner of the Rays. Boy, hell of a first thing on the docket, huh? I mean, oh boy. But, oh, by the way, my purchase price for the team is blank and I'm on the hook for $175 million for this guy. But you've got to pay him, by the way. The Rays would have to set contractual precedent. They would have to argue that the publicity from the case violates the morals clause of his contract.
And even if they didn't want to, the MLBPA would have to defend Wander because there are so many players in the union. And because if he's guilty for him, but if he's innocent, the union's got to protect him. That's what their job is.
And the whole morals clause, if one team goes after it, even if you think they're incredibly viable, the union's like, oh, no, we can't be having $175 million contracts voided for, reasons that they've never been voided before. But what do? I mean, this is $175 million over the next 9+ years. He's only 24. He was an all-star shortstop. I mean, he was the best player in the organization. Do you, if you own the Rays, welcome him back. Welcome might not be the best choice of words, but you have two choices. You pay him to just stay in the DR. We own your contractual rights. By the way, he then returns to the 40-man roster. For the next 9 years, he would be on your 40-man. That's a valuable spot, particularly for an organization like the Rays that likes to hoard as many young players as possible on their 40-man. If you're paying him, he's on the 40-man. Now, whether you'll let him put a uniform on and never sit in your dugout, that's an organizational decision. But he'd be reinstated in the good graces of baseball, and you'd pay him, and he'd be on your 40-man. Or you'd have to cut him. You'd still have to pay him, by the way.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. If you cut him, this is baseball. These contracts are fully guaranteed. Every single one of them.
That's the only way he wouldn't be on your 40-man. If you just want to stash him in the DR, he counts on your 40-man. Or you cut him, and you still got to pay him. And then anyone else in baseball is free to sign him. And it begs the
David,
question.
let me ask you a question because I don't know the answer to this. If they cut him, are they on the hook for the whole $174 million today, if you know what I mean?
No.
No, okay.
Not today. No, not today. But payments would have to, Friday morning, payments would have to resume. Thursday afternoon, the court says it's going to render its verdict.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't get it. I have texted Trent 3 times in 2 days, not one response. And he's starting to piss me off because he's supposed to do the podcast for us while I'm gone. There's information I got. I need to find out if he got the damn information, and he's not getting back to me. And it's starting to really piss me off.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Anybody see the video of the 3 women who got struck by lightning in Marco? Holy blank.
Oh, wow.
They were at the Marco.
No.
They all lived. They were in the Marco Marriott. It started raining, and there wasn't any, at the time, any electricity, and they weren't from here, obviously. So they ran under one of the tiki things to just stay out of the rain and kind of wait out the rain. Lightning hit the tiki hut they were in and knocked all 4 of them basically out. It was scary. They had video of it. It was scary.
They're okay, though?
Yeah, they're all okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there is video of it, Vince, but I think it was on both. I saw it on social, but it was on both networks, I believe.
On Gulf Coast News?
Well, and Wink News, too. I meant both networks, meaning NBC and CBS, but I forgot.
No, no. I was just a chance to take a shot at that glorious new moniker.
Mm-hmm. Gulf Coast News, Mighty Muscles. Go
Serving Galveston. Serving Navarre. Serving Slidell, Louisiana. Oh, I'm a bad person.
No answer.
Oh, good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. David Samson to make his weekly appearance coming up at the top of the hour. Gary Ferman, kind enough to join us once again. He's covered the Canes for a long time. He does so for Canesport.com, Canesport.com. Follow Gary on X at Canesport. Gary, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We are doing well. We would like you to not only educate us, but our audience in this interesting Wisconsin suing Miami over a recruit story. What's going on?
It's way too crazy. But no, I mean, Wisconsin is clearly upset that one of their better prospects chose to leave their program. And, he's a South Florida kid. He ends up coming back to go to Miami, which shouldn't be a great surprise if you're leaving somewhere as far away as Wisconsin and you want to go back home. And they are suing Miami, claiming that there was tampering that took place. It's an unprecedented type of lawsuit. If it were to continue and be successful, it would have seismic ramifications up and down college football. And Xavier Lucas is the young man involved, and he's had an attorney that's helped him through the process, because when he went into Wisconsin and he asked to go into the transfer portal, they refused to put him in the transfer portal, saying that he had already signed a agreement for future revenue sharing. So basically, revenue sharing wasn't going to be approved and come into effect for many, many months. But they apparently had signed their players to some sort of contract that they felt were binding to them attending Wisconsin. And when he went in and asked to go to the portal, they declined his request to go to the portal. So he got an attorney, which worked him through that process. He enrolled at Miami. They let him into the football program. And now Wisconsin is suing Miami, saying you tampered. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the lawsuit, so I don't know the ins and outs of all the legalese that's involved. But that's the Cliff Notes right there. So we'll see what happens from here. I'm not really sure where it's going.
Well, obviously, you say, there's no precedent in this. We're all operating in a new world of college athletics, but a multi-year NIL deal is what Wisconsin's kind of basing this on. How often are we entering into multi-year NIL deals with players?
Well, I think schools are trying to enter into all kinds of deals. I think the question is what's binding and what's not. What are the rules? What are the rules not? And I think that's all very fluid right now. And I think it's something that they're trying to get a handle on. Going to this revenue sharing, getting the universities involved is only one step of that. They've created an enforcement body, so to speak, that reviews all the NIL deals and makes sure they're legit and makes sure there's really an exchange of services going on, and kids aren't just being handed money. Which, let's be honest, that's the way it's been for the last few years. Kids have basically, for the most part, been being handed money. So this is like a real fluid thing. I think everybody wants to enforce things the way they see them. I don't think that there's very clear definition. I think we've been playing college football the last couple of years in the wild, wild west, so to speak, where just about anything goes. And this was a pretty heavy move by Wisconsin. I would be surprised if Wisconsin itself has gone the last few years and has not been trying to recruit kids that are playing at other programs, or been involved in the recruitment of kids at other programs. It's something that I pretty much see all over the country. I'm not saying Miami does it or doesn't do it. I can't really comment on that because I don't have knowledge either way. But they're really going out on the limb here and trying to bring it into the legal arena. I'm not sure how that's going to end, to be honest with you. I don't know how they have a lot of legs here. A kid clearly wanted to leave Wisconsin, and Miami was his school of destination because that was back home for him. And I don't see how you can go into the courts and claim that school back home tampered along the way of taking that kid. It just makes no sense to me.
Gary Ferman, canesport.com, canesport.com. Follow him on X at canesport. Has Miami had any official comment about the suit in any way?
Not a word. And, they're being very careful, obviously. I'm sure they were a little surprised by it. And they're working through, I'm sure, with the university attorneys and figuring out how to deal with it. Xavier Luce's agent attorney has come out again and said that there were no conversations with Miami prior to his decision to enroll at Miami. So they're backing up the university, certain side of the story or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I would think it's something that might be dismissible at some point here. There's certainly no precedent for this lawsuit. So we'll see what happens.
All right. The Canes are opening at home against the Irish, but between now and then, a lot going on the recruiting front. I mean, it really looks Mario Cristobal. We knew he could recruit. That was the main reason he was brought back to Miami, was because he's such a great recruiter. and they continue to get it done. It seems like every day I'm reading about a new player that is at least talking about being committed to the Canes. Their recruiting has been excellent, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really is. They're recruiting at a very high level right now, really as well as anybody in the country. And this is commitment season. You know, you just went through official visit season where kids were on their visits, and now it's commit season. And we're seeing commits almost on a daily basis now because the kids have had the chance to go around. They've seen the different schools. They've gotten a handle on what the NIL prospects are for them at those schools, and it's decision time, and they want to lock in their spots. So they're not done. We'll see more. Probably see one tonight. Probably see one tomorrow. This is the time that these kids are going to be making their moves.
Is Carson Beck healthy enough? Is he back throwing 100%? Is he participating in any official or unofficial workouts, or is he still not quote unquote healthy?
I think right now they're at the point where, if anything, they're holding him back a little bit. He's full go. I have not seen him with my own eyes. I've not watched the workout, but everything I've heard from people who have and people who have been involved in those workouts has all been very positive. I hear he looks great. His arm strength is coming back, and we're sitting here now in third week of June, and he's got to be ready at the beginning of August, and every indication is that he will be, and that this entire month of July in workouts with his teammates, he's going to be letting it rip. So that's a good thing for Miami.
Obviously, the health of the quarterback is paramount to a good season, but let's just assume Carson Beck's on track. He's going to play and be ready to go come August 31st. How good can this Hurricanes team be?
I think they could be very good. I think the defense is going to be better than it was last year, but I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think the offense can be very effective, but it's not going to be the same offense that was run by Cam Ward. It's probably going to be a little bit more controlled, a little bit less freelancing, and that could be good and bad. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The schedule is tougher this year than it was a year ago, and I think that's going to necessitate Miami attacking games a little bit differently. I don't know that we'll see them be the number one offense in the country again, for example. So it's going to be a lot of fun, good schedule, good team, a lot of very good players, a lot of excitement on offense. It's going to be a fun year for the Hurricanes.
Gary, my final question is, the new world in college sports officially begins a week from today. That's when the new school year starts everywhere, July 1st. It's also when this NCAA new financial world is supposed to begin. And none of us know how this is going to play out. So with that, being thrown out there, how equipped are the Canes? How solid is their athletic department for what we think solid. Is going to be this new world? I have a
story kind of along those lines on our website today, and the financial commitment is there. It keeps going up. The university does not blink. The supporters of the athletic department don't blink. They keep coming up with more money, and they're competitive, obviously, in recruiting on the national level. And I think things are looking very good for the Miami athletic department from that perspective, just from the support of the university. Now, you got a new basketball coach coming in. He's got to get it done. Baseball's got to continue their progress. And it's year 4 of Mario Cristobal. It's time for him to make his move. They were right on the doorstep last year. They screwed up and let it get away from them. This time around, they got to finish the deal.
Those 2 words you said about Mario Cristobal seem to be a trend, screwing up, because the talent's there, the expectations are there, and yet it seems one game a year, Mario Cristobal gets in his own way. What prevents that from happening this year?
I mean, that's an old cliche that people have been throwing around for a long time. I don't know how much foundation that has. Gets in his own way one game a year. I mean, everybody loses. Like, how many undefeated teams are there in college football every year? Usually none, sometimes one. Everybody in the country is losing. You're not like, you don't have a track to an undefeated season just because you have a good football team. I don't think it's fair. You look at last year. Obviously, you feel like they were a better team than Georgia Tech. They're a better team than Syracuse. But those were two very dangerous teams that beat other people too. And there's a lot of parity in college football. And as good as you think you are, trying to be at your top level for 12 straight weeks is virtually impossible. So there's going to be games along the way. Even when Miami had the best teams in college football, there's going to be 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 games during the course of the year that are going to be hanging in the balance when you go into the fourth quarter. And you're not winning every one of them most of the time. And so I don't think that's a fair stereotype that's been put on Mario Cristobal. They've come from a very dark place here the last 3 years at Miami. The program was not in a very good spot when he took it over. He's progressively been building it back. They had a generational quarterback last year. Yes, they absolutely wasted him in not winning a championship. No argument at all at that. But pinning it all on Mario, I mean, maybe since he's the head coach, you could say, well, the whole organization wasn't right. They had coaching problems on the defensive side of the ball, personnel problems on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe he could have gotten them another player or two, to make the team better. You can always second guess little things, and he'll certainly do that to himself. Like, he knows they had the best offense in college football last year. They didn't have a defense good enough to allow them to win a few of those close games. And they had several of them, a few of them that they did win. I could think of Virginia Tech and Cal, for example, that were very tight games late that they did win. But when you're going to the well that many weeks during the course of the season, you're going to win some and lose some. I don't care who your quarterback is. The Syracuse game, they had a 3-touchdown lead, and they blew it. They got outscored 28-7 in that stretch in the middle of the game. Well, when you get outscored 28-7, that's more than just the defense screwing up. That means that the offense had a lot of empty possessions in there too. So, they just got caught, up there in that game, and that cost them a spot in the ACC title game. It cost them a spot in the playoffs, and it was unfortunate. This year they're going to come back. They certainly have a team that should be as good as last year's team. Different, maybe not quite as good on offense, maybe a little bit better on defense. But the net end result should be a very competitive team that is very fair and setting its aspirations to win an ACC championship, to make it to the playoff. We'll see if they get there this time, guys.
Gary, as always, we appreciate your time. All the best. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Hopefully we can talk right before the opener.
Anytime you want, guys. Always great talking to you guys.
Gary Ferman of Kane Sport, canesport.com. You can follow him on X at Kane Sport. Mark, I think most fans are with you that, he's got to live that kneel down game that he didn't do. And until they get to an ACC title game or win it, I think that one's going to hang over him.
Home games with Notre Dame, USF, Florida, Louisville, Stanford, Syracuse, and NC State. He mentioned that schedule. It's a terrific home schedule for the Canes. And trust me, it's the Miami Hurricanes. There will be tickets readily available. Miller and Moulton, David Samson. He's next. Thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, they opened Michael with Notre Dame. At home. Their first 4 games are at home. They play 8 home games this year. Well, I shouldn't say that. They play, 8 home games, and they play 9 games in the state of Florida because one of the road games is Tallahassee. I think their road games are Pitt, Vatech, and SMU, along with the Knolls.
They play at SMU, at Pitt, at Vatech. I mean, this, I don't know. I mean, easy compared to who? Ambient? Colorado?
Good morning.
Good morning,
Is that
David.
velour?
How you doing?
How are you?
It is velour.
Nice. We headed out afterwards?
Just to more shows. That's about it.
How you holding up?
I don't know, David.
You been able to figure out a sleep solution?
No. It's
And you're not a napper, are you?
no. And I think that's gonna have to change.
Embrace the nap, David. Embrace the nap.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that for the first time in decades.
I know you've seen every movie ever made. This is, goes back to Dr. Detroit when Aykroyd was sleeping in his desk.
I think it's where he met Donna Dixon on that movie, his wife.
Highly underrated, stupid movie. It's stupid. I get it, everyone, but it makes me laugh.
Could you imagine if in Hollywood they had the same rule that sports teams have where players are not allowed to date the cheerleaders, etc.? Okay. I mean, could you imagine if there was actually a rule in Hollywood that the actors and actresses couldn't date? I mean, do you know how many marriages there are because they've worked together?
And divorces because of how many of them work
Exactly.
together.
Well, because they start working with someone else, but boom. Right.
It just makes me think of that Rich Eisen show with Kevin Pollak telling the story about Nicholson on Chinatown. At the time, I'm banging his daughter. Can't watch Chinatown the same way again. It's too good.
I love that he said he turned down Godfather because he found Chinatown to be a more interesting script.
It's a great movie.
Huh?
It's one of my all-time favorites.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's that day and time again, the final Tuesday of June, our bonus hour. David Samson joins us. Nothing personal with David Samson, an award-winning show. It's now 2 hours. It's now 7 a.m. Eastern. And then he gets done with it on Tuesdays, and he comes on our show. Follow him on X, David the letter P Samson, David P Samson. Here's the funny thing. If you turn on the DraftKings network right now, hour 2 of his show is just starting. It's a whole thing. How are you?
I'm good. I can be there. I can be here. I love Tuesdays, and I love 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. So much to cover always with you guys. And I have great respect for the fact that you do it for hours and hours, like 4 of them every day.
Well,
listen,
you've been involved. There's 2 of us. Makes life a lot easier,
Right.
David.
Yeah, but you're in a marriage. I'm
Yes.
living solo. Like, you got to deal with each other every day and your grumpiness or your moods or trying to figure out what each other's going to say or do. And it becomes a dance. I get to just dance solo.
Yeah, but David, like most marriages, we just ignore the other. I mean, that's all. Anyway, you've been involved in purchasing a team, selling a team, building a stadium, relocation, possible relocation. All right. So with everything that's gone on in the last week, we'll start with the Rays. That all happened after you were last on. A, your thoughts. B, do you think this Memphis trip fella is a fly in the ointment, or was this just his last chance to get the team and he has no chance?
So if anybody listening into your show knows this person, just in the course of maybe at the golf course or maybe at the local Starbucks, please give him a piece of advice from me, and I promise it's accurate and nice and true. Stop talking. Every word you say publicly gives you a smaller and smaller chance of getting approval by 23 owners to buy a team. MLB is always very clear. If you are in the market for a team, you are doing it quietly, and then we will tell you when to go public, not you. Stu Sternberg, on the other hand, has a high interest in having there be multiple bidders because he wants to get as big a price as possible for his investors and for himself. What he has to be doing is cultivating separate bids. Even when you're in an exclusive relationship with someone, you're legally saying when you sign a letter of intent and an exclusive negotiating period, what you're saying is, I'm only going to deal with you. You've got a chance to be in the document room, do your due diligence, and negotiate a purchase agreement. Just you and I, babe. But really what you're doing is you're saying to the other bidders, hang in there. If these guys can't close it, I'm going to want you. I'm going to need you. And you have a way, when you hold the asset, you have a way to make it so the other side can't close. You can ask for things as part of an agreement. Hey, we agreed at 1.7 billion, but part of the 1.7 billion is I'm going to want tickets to the Masters every year for 20 years. I'm going to want my own locker in Augusta. On top of that, I'm going to want to make sure that I've got 20 seats behind the dugout in a new facility whenever you build it. And on top of that, I'm going to want a ring if you ever win a World Series. And I'd like to keep 8% of the team just because it's like schmuck insurance to make sure if the team becomes worth 10 billion like the Lakers, that I haven't left money on the table. You can do it in a way, and it's still good faith. It's regular bargaining and negotiating, but you can do it in a way where a deal doesn't get consummated while you've been cultivating another group to raise their bid for the overall value of the team. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with Tampa right now.
Not to mention, you can ask to keep a bus. Always important to be able to keep a bus. Are the Athletics officially going to Vegas? What you had talked about for a couple of years is that until there are shovels in the damn ground, I don't buy any of this. Well, shovels in the ground, David.
Well, the shovels were actually inside a temporary structure because it was about 1,000 degrees in Vegas. I've never seen ground being broken in over existing concrete and fake turf. But that said, it's always ceremonial when you break ground. It's a great thing to do. You get the commissioner to come in and you get to talk to the media and you get to say how great things are going and we can't wait for 2028. You put the owner up there, John Fisher, to say he can't believe the momentum and all the great young people in Vegas who are playing baseball who are going to grow up to be fans of the team. You get the team president to say, hey, my owner's awesome. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for you people. I've never seen an owner who's in it for you people and not in it for money, but maybe that's just me. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. And you get the commissioner to say, phew, we got this problem taken care of. Let me scurry back on the plane back to Tampa and figure out that craziness so I can get to expansion. So there's a lot of forces in play that want this deal to happen and believe that it will happen. I am not willing yet to say that I was wrong, but when I'm wrong, I'm going to admit it. Of course, that's what I do on Nothing Personal. But the groundbreaking ceremony itself is of little import in my deciding when I'm wrong. But when the structure's up and when it's substantially completed and when the schedule comes out and opening days in Vegas in 28, I will be wrong and I will say I was.
Proposed 33,000-seat stadium, which would technically be the smallest. The Trop, they only sell 25,000, but they can sell 40 if they want. $1.75 billion very quickly. Do we know, will it be a dome? Because, I mean, it has to be a dome, right?
Yes. It's the Sydney Opera House. That was the rendering that I saw. They picked up now. What I was picturing is one of those big tractor trailers that you see that says wide load, and they've got people in front and behind driving cars.
Right.
I was picturing them going to Sydney and taking the entire opera house and just driving it to Tampa. Of course, that's not happening, but very often what you render is not what you get. And when the price gets out of control, you can give up certain things. And remember, the price of this ballpark keeps going up, and the public money doesn't keep going up. So John Fisher has to keep coming up with more and more money, and they'll tell you to the blue in the face. I love this. We're selling the San Jose Earthquakes separately because it's the right time to sell. It has nothing to do with trying to raise liquidity in order to make sure we can satisfy our obligations in Vegas. Of course, they're related. There is no question they are related. And will he find a buyer for the Earthquakes at a number he wants? Probably, because he has to sell, and it may not be as high a number as he could get, but he's got to get that liquidity because he's out of options to get money. He got the money from the concessionaire Aramark. He's been looking for partners, as long as you can look for Godot, and we'll wait to see what happens. But I'm not yucking on their yum. I'm simply telling you that groundbreaking is not this moment of, oh my God, everything's done. It's just starting in Vegas.
All right. One of the things we wanted to ask you, a little off the beaten path from that, but yes, we had the NBA Finals on Monday night. We had the Game 7. Everybody fired up about Game 7. Not really.
It was Monday night. I was fired up, man.
But the NBA earlier that day announced the Kevin Durant trade. Let me ask you, if whomever were in the World Series and you're still running the Marlins and you're not in the World Series, how quickly would the commissioner have wrung your neck if you announced a blockbuster trade the morning or early afternoon of Game 7?
So, Mark, it's not allowed. And I should note, and I may have this wrong, so help me, because Coca's not here, my producer, so I'm asking your help. I don't believe that it was announced on Sunday. I believe that Shams had a breaking news through sources that a deal was done that actually can't be officially announced until, because of CBA, until July. Do I have that wrong?
No, that's right.
You're correct. July 6th, I think, is the earliest that the teams can announce it. But yes, Shams broke the story, but you know what has to happen in order for Shams to break the story. It's got to A, go down the road far enough, and B, you're getting the story from either the agents or the team. This isn't that complicated.
Well, you can also get it from the league. The league is like a sieve. And the union, they get access to everything, and they leak stuff all the time to insiders who are smart enough to have relationships inside both the union and the league. I thought the timing was horrific. I think it's embarrassing. You want the focus to be on the game. It happened to have been a great game, a great series, such an unfortunate injury to Halliburton. But no, you get a memo actually in baseball right before October every year that specifically states you are not allowed to officially announce any transactions, signings, hirings, firings, nothing during the World Series without prior approval from not the commissioner's office, the commissioner himself. You have to speak to Selig and then Manfred, tell him what you're doing and say, can it be announced? And if so, what day? And the answer during the World Series is always no. Do you remember when A-Rod announced that he was opting out of his Yankee deal?
The sixth inning of Game 4. The Red Sox are about to sweep the Rockies.
It was a big deal, and the league did not forgive him too easily or quickly for that. And he realized, and he did a mea culpa later on when he was on his apology tour, basically saying, God, that was just a mistake. And that's how I view the Durant thing.
All right. We literally only have 90 seconds because it's a hard break. Thursday afternoon, Dominican court is going to render their final verdict on Wander Franco. Let's just say they find him not guilty. The Rays are then responsible for the remaining $175 million, correct?
Well, he's on the restricted list right now, so he's not getting paid.
But if he's found not guilty Thursday afternoon, on Friday, he's off the list.
Yeah, it's a problem. MLB and Tampa are rooting for him to get convicted so they can terminate his contract.
Okay. And now you are the Rays. He's been found not guilty. Okay. Innocent until proven guilty. He's been found not guilty. Do you ever bring him back in as part of the organization again? Yes or no?
No, I do not. And I just have to eat it the way the Reds had to eat Candelario and his contract for lack of performance. It was a mistake, a bad deal, great player, but they got it wrong. He will not play in the big leagues again. That is my prediction. It was actually my wait to see on Nothing Personal today that his contract is going to end up being terminated. It may be a fight, but the Rays do not want to pay that.
But even if it's terminated, they're going to have to pay it, though.
So that's the thing about a guaranteed contract. If they can get him convicted of a felony, then that's it. See you later. Terminated, no money. If he is found not guilty, there could be civil suits that happen, all sorts of things. The Rays are going to try to find a way to eliminate the guarantee, and they're going to have MLB's help in trying to do it. And will it work? I do think it will work, but we'll wait and see. But there's a lot of money at stake.
David Samson, Nothing Personal with David Samson, weekday mornings at 7 a.m., rebroadcast beginning at 8 on the DraftKings Network.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks lie peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sam Reinhart claiming, or Kachuk and Reinhart claiming on the Spit and Chicklets podcast that 11s, the club in Miami that they were all at, that you see the great photo of Marchant trying to get back in and Barkov grabbing him like, no, that's enough. That the club comped their bill to the tune of $500K.
Wow.
When he says, when you go to pay the bill and they said it's comp to the tune of $500K.
First off,
you wonder why they want to stay in Florida, guys? They're treated pretty well.
First off, try ringing up $500K. That had to be over multiple days.
No. That's Tuesday night at 11s. Or that's, that's where they went after the elbow. They went to 11s. Or no, the next night they went to 11s. I think that's the following night after they won it.
No, that can't
I know it's hard to believe, but I'm just going by what the player literally just said, and I just watched it. So I know you think it's somebody else. I'm literally going by what the player spoke out of his, not you, Puck Virtue in there. Hard to believe. Okay, if it's hard to believe, I'm just telling you that the guy said they comped it. The club comped it. The person who had the bill said the club comped it.
I don't doubt that the club comped them. But to me, what's fascinating is to be able to ring up that tab. There's just say, 25 guys? I mean, how many more could there be than that? That's 20,000 a guy. I mean, damn. Yeah, as Despicable says, that's a hell of a Tuesday. Wow.
By the way, it was just Reinhart and Kachuk for most of the Chicklets interview. It's a minute and a half. Marchant then strolls in. They're all in the pool drinking while doing the interview.
That's just so good.
And Marchant Biz sees Marchant. He goes, "Is that Marshy, the newest Toronto Maple Leaf?"
I really like Bissonnette. I really like him.
I do too. I really think, and I like TNT, they need to take a long, hard look at themselves. They cannot have another postseason where the whole crew is openly rooting against American teams. They can't do it.
Although I will say Anson Carter was openly rooting for the Panthers.
Okay, one
Okay,
of
he
5
was.
people. I mean,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'm
And
not
the-
talking
and the least
finals.
impor-
This is throughout the whole playoffs. By the
Because they
way,
would turn to Anson.
oh, go ahead.
Nope. What do you got?
Oh, no. I was going off. There's an article in the Score about the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And basically that they think that there are, because you've got Brenda Moore, Alexander McGinley, and Curtis Joseph, who most think are Hall of Famers that are not in.
Right.
They only put 4 in a year. Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith, Carey Price, and Joe Thornton are all eligible this year. Now, they've got a bunch of guys that could get in, and they're saying, so you're telling me there's a chance? They have PK Subban on the set. You're telling me a chance. If he gets into the Hall of Fame, shut the doors to that. Shut the doors to that building. Are you kidding me?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. All coming up on Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, which of these champions has the best chance to repeat? The Eagles, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Florida Panthers. Vote accordingly. I went Panthers.
I went Thunder.
And I'm second guessing my vote every second.
To change it
and
to
I keep
whom?
wondering. Well, that's just it. Okay, but, going to 4 straight finals, that hasn't been done in 40 years, and a three-peat is what it would be for the Panthers. That hasn't been done in hockey in 40 years when the Islanders won 4 in a row. I mean, even the great Edmonton dynasty never won 3 in a row, won 2 in a row twice, 5 in 7 years. But I don't know. But I voted for the Panthers when push came to shove. I don't think they age out next year. I think they're closer to becoming old than people are wanting to talk about. Like, I think next year they'll be fine. The part that you bring up, Mark, is, man, this will be a lot of hockey for 4 straight years. You throw in a 4 Nations for some of those guys. You throw in an Olympics next year. Will that be awful for some guys, good for the rest of the roster? I mean, it's a very fascinating dynamic what the Panthers are going to go through next year. But I don't know. I voted Panthers.
And you can vote at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We've been surprised that the Eagles repeat has been the lowest voted on. They are getting just 20% of the vote thus far, and begs us to ask who's the biggest challenger in the NFC. We talked a little bit about it earlier. I'm riding as of this moment in time, I'm riding the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know if I'll still have that same type of love when my research week begins on Saturday on vacation. Me, some podcasts, the Phil Steele college football book, and the little NFL work while I sit by the lake and swill beers for 7 days.
And I simply asked the question. It's why I'm second guessing myself. So we all agreed the Eagles were the best team in the NFC last year with the best roster. What's changed? I'm not being a jerk. What's changed? Anybody else get better than the Eagles on paper? Seriously. Anybody? Don't think you can make that argument. So if they're still the best team and the best roster in the conference, why are we not talking about them repeating more?
Let me ask you this question. who's made the biggest strides to close the gap in it? Because I don't think the Lions roster is as good right now as it was a year ago. Who in the NFC? Washington, the Rams, the Bucks. Who do you think's made the biggest stride to be Minnesota? You've talked about to be the second best roster in the NFC, or be third behind Detroit if you still think Detroit has the second best roster in the NFC.
Well, I love what the Vikings have done, but then they've got the uncertainty at quarterback. I like what Washington's done this offseason. I mean, adding Tunsil, adding the wide receiver, but I thought they incredibly overachieved last year. They won 9 one-score games last year. They played in 13 of them. I mean, like you talked about, they were like 22 of 27 on fourth down. I mean, it just all came together for Washington last year. Does it really happen again? And does Daniels, let's face it, and no one's higher on Daniels than Miller and Moulton. We were higher coming in. No one's higher on him. But does he have a status quo year? Is he better? Like, is he going to be Marino 2.0? When Marino's rookie year, it was like, wow. And then Marino's sophomore year was, holy blank. Has anybody ever played better than this? Or is this going to be C.J. Stroud?
Right.
Right.
Where he just takes a step to the side, maybe. And obviously, the one thing none of us know anything about is health. But there will be a Detroit Lions-like team this year in the NFL. A team that's got a really good roster that injuries are going to take it apart. It just happens every year.
And if we go back to last year's playoffs, who played Philly tougher than the Rams?
And they're better than they were a year ago.
They gave up the 2 long touchdown runs to Saquon. They didn't have an answer for Saquon. There's no doubt about it. They did not have an answer for the power running game. But they gave the Eagles a game. They had the ball on the edge of the red zone with a chance to win it late. And the Eagles manhandled the Packers and manhandled Washington and manhandled Kansas City. And they were in a fight with the Rams. So, and I don't think the Rams have gotten worse. And as you said, Mark, when they had Jalen Ramsey, but I'm sorry. Philly was the best team in the NFC entering last season. They had the best roster. They still are the best team with the best roster entering this year. Doesn't guarantee you anything. We all know people are going to get hurt. But, I mean, Mark, remember for those that like Detroit over Philly at this time last year, they were arguing Detroit's offensive line was better than Philly's. You can't make that argument this year.
Nope, you cannot.
Remember what Philly had it this time last year? Philly had lost Kelsey and 2 new coordinators. Well, now what's Detroit? Lost Ragnow,
both coordinators and coaches out the wazoo.
And Zeitler, their guard. So who knows? Maybe they're poised to win the Super Bowl, just like Philadelphia a year ago today.
David, you love Halls of Fame, and at 3:00 today, they are going to announce the class in the Hockey Hall of Fame. There are 4 candidates that people think are locks to the Hall. Zdeno Chara, he's first-year eligible. Duncan Keith, also first-year eligible. Carey Price and Joe Thornton. All 4 of them are first-year eligible. You've got Curtis Joseph. You've got Rod Brindamore and Alexander McGinley, who many people think deserve to be in. Only 4 get in. How many of the first ballot guys, first-time eligible guys, do you think get in? Like, Chara's a lock. He's going in. I think Thornton's a lock.
Which is funny because that was the one I was going to keep out. See, to me, I have to get McGilney in.
I agree 100%, but they've been looking him over for so damn long. It's sickening.
It's a joke. It's embarrassing. So I have to, like what they did last year with Eli. We all know Eli's getting in. They didn't put him in last year. Okay. So to me, I got to do it. To me, like I think Carey Price is going to get in. The whole Canadians thing took him to the finals, won the MVP the same year as the Vezina 10 years ago. I think Carey Price is going to get in. So to me, Mark, it comes down to Duncan Keith or Thornton. Well, Keith was the Norris winning defenseman on a team that could be considered a dynasty that won 3 cups. So to me, it comes down to I am going to sacrifice Thornton for McGillney this year. Is he a Hall of Famer? Of course he is. But I would sacrifice Thornton for McGillney this year because I got to get him in.
With you 100% McGillney, and I don't know why the Hockey Hall has neglected putting him in thus far. When you look at, and I think Carey Price gets in, you also add to it, he won an Olympic gold, a World Cup gold, and a junior gold. Those things bode well for the voters of the Hockey Hall of Fame. You got to remember the majority are Canadian that are voting on it, and those things bode very well. So that announcement at 3:00, didn't want to spend a lot of time on it, but we were asked a couple of times about it and thought I would get it to our Hall of Fame expert, one David Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap. That's next. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Miller and Moulton are very grateful to you, the listeners, for making us one of the highest rated shows for men, because the working man is one of the toughest demos to reach, and we do. Great sponsors like Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Sleep Treatment Direct, Game Day Men's Health, and Molly Maid recognize that, and we thank them. And if you own a business and working men are your clientele, the most cost-effective way to reach them is through us. Text Miller and Moulton at 21,000 or directly via X at that Mark Miller or the David.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think so, baby Jules. Yes.
Yes, baby Jules. Well, Logic Man, without even thinking, I just read the question. I put no thought into it whatsoever. I'm basing this entirely off of the person who asked it, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm with Michael there. If you ask the question, the answer is Philadelphia. If Irish football asks the question, the answer is either Notre Dame or the Denver Broncos. You guys kind of stay in your lanes.
I have to admit, though, Logic Man, I don't quite know. Is this like during a season, all time? I mean, it seems like a pretty trivial factoid.
That's one of the main reasons I answered the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, for you there, Michael, a.k.a. Ambient, if the Colorado Buffaloes don't win 7 games with that schedule, it's embarrassing. Embarrassing. They better, and I don't think they beat Georgia Tech to start the season, because I think Georgia Tech's starting to, I don't know about turn the corner, but get back to more like what we're used to Georgia Tech being, David. A solid 8-4 team that's salty.
I like salty teams.
I do too. And that, I wasn't going to argue with Gary, but Syracuse is not a salty team. You don't lose to Syracuse. You just don't with that much on the line. But the Canes have been snatching defeat from the jaws of victory for quite some time. Well, and remember, too, Michael, they're going to break in a new quarterback in that game. Well, wait a minute. Don't talk about all the talent that's left. All I've heard you talk about for 2 years is they're back, baby. This is Colorado. So if they don't make a bowl game, that would be embarrassing.
Plus, they've lost 2 guys. I mean,
it's Dion. He does everything right.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
"22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett, Pat Kerwin, at the very least, on the show tomorrow. Our poll question: which champion, Eagles, Thunder, Panthers, do you give the best shot to win in their next season? Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. You ready?
Ready.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was the day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health with locations in Bonita Springs and Naples. Call them today at 239-427-3441. That's 239-427-3441, or online, very simply, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off of your service. David, today in 1664, the colony of New Jersey was founded when the Duke of York grants Lord Berkeley and Sir George Carteret ownership of land between the Hudson and Delaware rivers.
Yeah, and the Statue of Liberty, by the way, is in Jersey. Don't forget it. A court upheld it and everything. Take a look at the map.
Today in 1853, another purchase. While it pales in comparison to Louisiana and Alaska, today was the Gadsden purchase, where we bought about 30,000 square miles from Mexico for $10 million. It's now southern Arizona and New Mexico.
Tell you, man, we had a great real estate agent company back in the day, didn't we?
We really did. We were good at these purchases.
I mean, what do you get at 3%? Okay, whoever we were paying 3% to, man, did they earn it.
The first performance of O Canada was today in 1880. It would obviously go on to be the national anthem of Canada. Picasso had his first exhibition open in Paris at the age of 19, today in 1901.
19, huh? 19.
Yeah.
Lee, I just...
Right. Today in 1902, David, the Target Corporation is founded by George Dayton as Goodfellow Dry Goods in Minneapolis. Two big football things in 1922. The American Professional Football Association is renamed the National Football League. And Charter Club, the Chicago Staleys, are renamed the Chicago Bears by team founder, owner, and head coach George Halas. Jackie Robinson steals home for the first of 19 times in his career today in 1947. Harmon Killebrew hit his first home run today in 1955. Crystal Gale released her album We Must Believe in Magic, featured Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. It was the first platinum album by a female country artist. It was released today in 1977. Ricky Henderson made his MLB debut with the A's today and would steal his first base in his debut. Shaq selected first overall by the Magic in 92. In what was a painful sweep for yours truly, it was today in 95 that the New Jersey Devils humiliated my beloved Detroit Red Wings 5-2 for a 4-0 sweep in the Devils' first ever Stanley Cup final appearance. That left wing block, I mean, the Wings, I thought that was done. I thought they'd have no problem. And I mean, the Devils owned them for 4 games.
The whole hockey world fought along with you, Mark. Maybe the Devils would win a game. The Wings, that was done. They won the President's Trophy the year before, had suffered playoff heartbreak, went out, brought in some veterans like Paul Coffey, getting over the hump this year. They steamrolled through the West. They get to the finals, and New Jersey said, that's cute.
David, you got to help me here. I just put this on because this, you know what? I'm a bad sports talk show host, but I looked at this yesterday, and I was trying to figure out who the hell this was. 1998. The Clippers, with their first pick, take a center from Pacific. Michael Olowokandi. Oh. Is that right?
There you go.
Olowokandi. I'm looking at that going, I got to ask Moulton how to pronounce his damn name. Who is this guy?
Well, it's a great question. He had a couple of decent years. Decent. But he was never worthy of the number 1 overall pick of the draft. And yes, we had a name. I mean, to be a virtual unknown first overall pick, it's like, wait a minute. I mean,
in 98, not in 68, right. Not in 58, right. In 98. The league's
the Bulls had just three-peated for the second time, right? People are kind of paying attention to college hoops and pro hoops. Yeah. Michael, who? What?
Right.
Yeah, Clippers. That was part of their run of being the Clippers. Yeah.
In 04, The Orlando Magic picked first overall again and would take Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy power forward Dwight Howard with the first overall pick.
Over, who was the UConn center? Was it Okafor, who had just led UConn to the title? And that's what everybody, because remember, that year, Orlando's GM was a baseball guy. He does 1 year as the Magic GM, and he's got the number 1 pick of the draft. And he chooses Dwight Howard over the UConn center, and it turned out to be a spectacular selection.
John Wall selected first by the Wizards today in 2010. In 2013, the Blackhawks defeat the Bruins 3-2 in the 6th game to win their 5th championship. It was 4 years ago, unfortunately, that the condo collapses in Surfside and 98 people die. And 1 year ago today, the Panthers win their first title in 7. Jack Dempsey, golfer Billy Casper, Sam Jones, Jeff Beck, Terry Donahue, and pitcher Doug Jones would have all celebrated birthdays today. Mick Fleetwood, founder of Fleetwood Mac, is 78. The most famous, I would argue, one of the most famous golfers to have never won a major is 67 today. TC Chen. Anybody that's over the age of 45 that plays golf still refers to any double hit as a TC Chen. Lost to the
85 U.S. Open. Andy North ended up winning his 2nd U.S. Open by 1. TC Chen had a 4-shot lead. He's cruising, and he double hit a chip early in the final round, and he fell apart.
Golfer Julie Inkster is 65. Hockey player Bernie Nichols, 64. J.J. Redick, 41. And Lionel Messi is 38 years old today. What did I miss, David?
2 things. First off, you know you can't have a double hit anymore? They changed the rule.
Yeah.
That would have only counted as 1.
Right.
But at the time, it counted as 2. And because he ended up getting an 8 on the hole, and his 4-shot lead disappeared. By the way, I was right. It was Emeka Okafor. All right.
Okay.
It was out of UConn. And that's the guy that everybody said that the Magic GM had to take. And he said, I don't know. I like this Howard kid. He seems better to me. Just saying. I got nothing, by the way.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I'm going to Miami, kind of for the good. This is a story we brought up last week or the week before when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were spotted at the Panthers game. One of the things that happened earlier that day is Taylor Swift spent hours at the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital in Miami. We've now heard about that. But what stemmed from that is the good. The Swifties are the good. After word came out she was at the hospital and some photos came out of Taylor visiting with a couple of kids, 2 different children at the hospital have been able to get over $100,000 in donations for their necessary treatments. And they say the bump all came from the Swifties after Taylor visited the hospital. So good for the Swifties.
And she did not do any of the PR. That was just family.
Parents basically putting the
right.
picture.
Right. She did not publicize the appearance. She did not want to get credit for it afterwards when all the hockey people were yelling about shots of her on TV. And 4.5 hours, by the way, she spent at the hospital. 4.5 hours. That's pretty damn cool.
For the bad, we go to Bristol, Connecticut, where firefighters had to rescue a man who got stuck in the chimney of a Connecticut Parks building while trying to retrieve his dog from the bathroom when the doors automatically locked for the night. The man was not injured. He was arrested and charged with burglary, trespassing, and criminal mischief because his dog was in the bathroom and the doors automatically locked for the night.
I hate when that happens.
That's a bad break. Speaking of bad breaks, we go to Houston for the ugly, where a shoplifter who was reportedly trying to run from Houston police officers jumped from the second floor of the Galleria Mall onto an ice skating rink below. It didn't go all that well for the shoplifter. He jumped, he fell, he broke both of his legs.
I was going to say, that's a very what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I don't know. Soft landing?
Yeah. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June 24th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Well, listen, you only got baseball, folks. Now, there is a little bit of that CONCACAF soccer, the Gold Cup. You got FS1 tonight. You even got FS2. How many of you even know where that is on your system? But FS1 at 7, Panama, Jamaica, Canada at 10 o'clock. Okay, everybody trying to get out of group. U.S. is already advanced. WNBA is back in action tonight, 10 o'clock. Caitlin Clark and the Fever are on NBA TV, but they're underdogs in Seattle. Do you know right now the Fever would be the last team in the playoffs in the WNBA?
Interesting. All I know is that the last 2 games, Caitlin Clark has been awful from behind the arc. She had that monster game against New York, went out west, and has not shot the ball worth a damn.
And they've lost them both. I think she's 1 of 17 in those 2 West Coast games from beyond the arc. She went 0 for 7 and 1 for 10. So now I would then take all the prop bets tonight.
Yeah, I would take
on
the
her.
over on Caitlin Clark. I'm right there with you, David. Beat me to it.
Because, a very good player. What's the odds of them having 3 really off nights in a row? Baseball, everybody's back in action tonight. You had 9 games yesterday. You got all 15 today. A couple of matchups that didn't play yesterday. The Phillies are in Houston. That's 2 division leaders. Toronto's in Cleveland. I believe that's the 5 and the 6 seeds, right, Mark?
Yes.
In the playoffs? That's
yes.
2 of the 3 wild cards in the American League. The Rays, after a day off, are in Kansas City. The Marlins, after a day off, are in San Francisco. So there you go.
It is the time now. We've got to fight our way to what? The Open Champion. Well, we got Wimbledon coming up. We got the Open Championship
Monday.
Not too far away. So we are going to have to search for our sports not named baseball over the course of the next couple of weeks. The NBA drafts tomorrow. Today at 3 o'clock, they announced the Hockey Hall of Fame list. So there are some things out there, but this is not a lot of news will be made in the NFL over the course of the next few weeks. This is kind of the downtime there. Have to find another good poll question for tomorrow, David.
Oh,
you did yeoman's work today. That was good stuff.
Listen, it'd be an uncomfortable question, but we could ask the Wander Franco question as a poll question. If he's found not guilty, if you're the Rays, do you take him back?
I would not. David Samson would not. David, you sounded like you would.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're innocent until proven guilty. I would have signed Trevor Bauer. He was never charged. Investigated twice, never charged. You're darn right I would have signed him. I could do that press conference. I could do the Wander Franco press conference. I'm not saying it'd be fun, but I could do it.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.